Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Appreciate you being here. First off, if you are new to the podcast, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming and listening to an episode. If you are a returning guest, always wonderful to have you. If you have not yet, please take a second to rate, review, subscribe, comment on the podcast, the whole deal. That is a great way to help someone like me who is working on this and doing it in their basement. Self-made, just doing this by myself. If you guys would love to support the show, you could share an episode. You could tell someone about it who enjoys learning about the people who make Pittsburgh what it is. That is a way you could support the show. Another way you could support the show, I have some incredible merchandise on I'llCallYouRightBack.com. I will be running a little discount coming up here. I got some hats coming in. I should be picking up the last batch here this week, and those will be on the website as well. But I need to get all this shit out of my basement so I can reinvest the money back into the podcast. That would be a big help. So if you ever wanted to buy some merchandise, let me know. I will shoot you a DM with all the stuff that I got in your size, and we will work something out. Beyond that, I am doing some other things that are pretty fun, pretty cool, that I would love to invite you to. So March 15th for St. Patty's Day, I am hosting a wonderful St. Patty's themed event with the Berg Bus. So March 15th, Saturday, we are going to Castle Blood in Monessen for a St. Patty's Day themed stroll through Castle Blood. Castle Blood is a local haunted house that has been around for over 3 decades. Yep, 30 years they've been in business, scaring the hell out of all the people that like to go there. And for St. Patrick's Day, they do a little themed day. There's going to be leprechauns running around, some 4-leaf clovers, the whole deal. And to keep in the spirit, we're all going to hop on the Berg Bus. It's going to pick everyone up at 7 p.m. in the waterfront right behind Permanis. We're going to hop on the Berg Bus. I'm going to, talk a little bit about what I do and what I got going on. And then I'm going to put on the 1993 classic with none other than Warwick Davis, the Leprechaun. We're going to watch the Leprechaun there and on the way there, and then on the way back, obviously. And once we pull up to Castle Blood, we have some VIP tickets where we could skip to the front of the line, and we will be able to go through the haunted house and enjoy that for the St. Patrick's Day season. This is in addition to Halloween. Everyone goes to haunted houses for Halloween, but when do you have the opportunity to go to a haunted house in the middle of March? Not too often. So I take pride in this event that I'm throwing. So I would love to have you. This is an all ages event. You could bring your younger sibling, you could bring your child, you could bring Nana if you want. If you got a 90-year-old grandmother, we will make it happen for her. A couple steps that will be involved, just to throw that out there, but let's have a swell time. Buy your tickets. You can get them at bergbus.com. Go to the calendar of events, click on March 15th, which is a Saturday, and buy yourself some tickets and come have a good time with us. Other than that, that's the best way to support the show. I got some stuff coming in the pipe down the line, and you'll hear more about that. You could follow I'll Call You Right Back on Instagram. That's pretty much where I put most of my updates and all of my, all of my happenings that I got going on. But beyond that, that's what you could do. I would appreciate if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, leave a couple of kind words and a comment, and that goes a long way. But that will be that's all I got for you as far as peddling what I got to peddle. But the reason that everyone is here this week, we got a great guest this week. We sit down with Josh Sickels, who is the owner of Rockaway Pizza. Rockaway is a pizzeria that was located in the White Oak area that is now temporarily closed. He's working on a brand new location in Regency Square, and it is it's a pretty damn good pie. It's very, very notable, very, very notable. It's well regarded. It has been in the paper numerous times, and it has even warranted a trip from Dave Portnoy, who runs the One Bite reviews through Barstool. If you don't know what that is, Dave Portnoy is a guy who, he's a millionaire that travels around the world and just tries the best pizzas in the world. Rockaway was one of them whenever he came into Pittsburgh, among some others, and they got a great score, 8.2. But Josh does his take on a New York style slice, and like I said, it's pretty damn good. I've had it myself, and this week I invited him in to come in and tell me a little bit more about what made him, start up Rockaway. And he got a fascinating story. He was a musician before, and he'll be the first to tell you that he considers himself a musician first and then a pizza maker second. But, he got a great pie, and he got a good story overall. He started this just kind of on a whim at his house, learning stuff on YouTube, and it kind of progressed and grown into the Rockaway Pizzeria that everyone knows about. It has been shut down for the past few months because he is working on a new location. Like I said, in this episode, he highlights when he expects us to be open, which will be, end of March, maybe early April at the latest. But everyone is looking forward to the reopening of Rockaway Pizza. We get into so much more. It's a great conversation. I'm excited to put it out there, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, episode 297. We're at 297 already, almost at episode 300. And I guess I'll put it out here now. I'm throwing a 300 episode party. Details will come down the line a little bit. But without further ado, episode 297 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Josh Sickels of Rockaway Pizza.
Telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Hereditary has some scenes that I'll never forget the rest of my life. Probably.
That's probably the scariest movie that I've seen in recent years. I don't know if there's another one out that really kind of freaked me out like it did. I think before that, maybe The Conjuring.
Dude, as much as it's become like, kind of like, I don't want to say a joke, but all those Conjuring 2, 3, 10, Annabelle. The first Conjuring, man, is fucking...
That was a terrifying movie.
It really was, dude. The fucking...
That was crazy. But even
Hereditary didn't scare me as much as I thought. It was just creepy as fuck. The telephone pole scene to me this day is one of the most heinous things I've ever seen in a movie. And then that slow dread where they're panning in on his face
while he's laying in bed.
Well, no, after it happens and he's in the car. We just talked about movies this whole time. Fuck pizza.
The laying in bed stuff, whenever he was
and then when
awake.
the mom finds her.
Yeah.
Fuck.
A wild movie for sure. I enjoyed that. And then before that, I would say notably Paranormal Activity, the first one.
I never saw it. Dude, the first Exorcist, the Exorcist still scares me. It's
great.
As goofy as the special, I mean, you can't even call it a special effects goofy because what do you want to do? It's fucking 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But there are scenes in Exorcist this day that I don't think anyone in a mainstream movie will go near.
Yeah.
Like the part where a young girl is masturbating with a cross and saying let Jesus fuck you and shit.
It's insane.
It's like
we just saw it
doing nothing like that still.
We just saw it in theaters for I think it was the 50th anniversary maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, 50th anniversary. And it holds up.
And it's a good movie too. It's not just the scary parts. It's solid. It reminds me of an early Scorsese movie or some shit.
It's very, very well done. And there's if you read into the lore of it, it has cool lore, like whenever he hears the cell phone or the telephone in there, whenever he's getting a phone call, that was all just a big surprise. You hear
there's some weird stuff surrounding some people died working on it and shit, and there's stuff that adds to kind of the mythology of the movie, weird creepy stuff.
Yeah, it's wild the beginning of it because growing up, I only saw like clips of it halfway into the movie. But
You mean when they're in like Iraq and they're like digging up all that shit?
Yeah,
that's cool.
It is. It's cool. I never really like put all that part together. Are you a big movie guy?
Yeah, huge. So like I'm a musician first, and that's like I started out doing music for a living before I ever did pizza. So
1, 2, 3.
I was in one band called 1, 2, 3. I was in a band called The Takeover UK. We both those bands were signed to like semi-major labels. I used to live in LA and spend some time in New York and like touring in Europe and shit too. And I still play. And
Are you from here?
I am from here. I'm from Irwin.
Irwin. What part?
I don't know.
Like, did you go to Norwin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the real Irwin, not the fake ass like Greensburg Irwin.
Okay,
There's like they call Irwin. It's not really Irwin.
Yeah, it's an umbrella.
It's in Hempfield. That's in Hempfield Township.
Okay.
But I grew up in like the real Irwin.
How old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
graduated in 2000.
Okay, yeah, you're a little bit older than me, but so you were here. I don't really know anything about you, which I'm excited about. I grew up
a good story.
I grew up in McKeesport and Elizabeth, so I kind of just like was a patron of your spot just because it was a new spot in the area.
Were you there when I was in the first location, like the small where the Big Shot Bob's went into eventually?
No.
So I was. Are we going now? By the way,
we're going.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't really. It just is a easy roll in.
Yeah.
Are you ever do a podcast?
Yeah, but not like this. Like not. I guess they've mostly been like long form audio interviews that and then I've done some short clip stuff. But nothing like, I guess not.
Diving
really.
into your life.
It's weird, man. I still have like never got into like, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't like I still listen to music or I listen to nothing. Like I drive around silence a lot because I feel like a lot of the time my day is just like, bah, 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 like all fucking day. Like there's different shit happening. So sometimes it's like I get coffee and I just drive in silence.
I understand that. I'll go through spurts. Usually whenever I had a longer commute, I was a big podcast, consumer. I got onto the Rogan kick way before it was like a political platform. So
I'll do Rogan. It's really just depends on who's on.
Yeah, guest.
And that's the thing that's, for people have a lot of opinions on Rogan. I find a lot of them valid on both sides.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can say about Rogan is that he's not afraid to have on like any fucking buddy on his show. Like he'll have
I like that.
He'll have like a renowned astrophysicist and then some fucking conspiracy quack job on the next day. And it's cool in the sense where it's,
I got into it real early because I was a UFC fan. So
I'm a huge UFC fan as well. I trained mixed martial arts for years actually.
Oh yeah? What kind?
All of it. So I would say I was best at jiu-jitsu and boxing because I have short legs and my hips are not very good. So Muay Thai, I eventually worked myself up to be able to do like head kicks, but it was never.
Well, let's rewind this a little bit because we're off on a tear. But I'm more curious. So you grew up in Irwin.
I mean, in Irwin.
What was like your childhood?
I was born in West. So I say Irwin, but really the OG Josh. From age 0 to 6. I lived in West Mifflin.
Okay, yeah.
I was born in McKeesport Hospital.
Yeah, me too.
Lived in West Mifflin, over. It's like, Christ, I don't remember how to get there now. It's like closer to Kennywood.
Yeah.
Like between Jervosburg and Kennywood, like where the Bettis plant in Jervosburg is, you make that right. And you go down that hollow road. It was called June Drive.
Okay.
Anyways, so that's like very, very distant memories. But so I grew up in Irwin. And
when did music start?
Super early. I was super into music as a kid. My parents got me like a guitar, which I never really played it. But I would always stand in the mirror and put like the Beach Boys on or some shit and do Surfing USA karaoke. And
your parents were real music heads?
My mom was a dancer, like tap, jazz, and ballet dancer. My dad loved music. and my mom plays a few instruments. But that wasn't even why that's not really even why I got into music. They just saw that I liked it, for whatever reason. And then so my older sister, I have a sister who's 10 years older than me, and she got really into like punk music and like, alternative indie stuff. And so like at a young age, I was exposed to like the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and like, and then like a lot of the new wave stuff, in like 80s, like Smiths and, and then, I was also young during like the glory days of MTV when they actually played music still.
Yeah, the sweet
I was
spot.
around for like the Nirvana explosion, like when they killed hair metal. And 120 Minutes, that was the alternative rock show, then Headbangers Ball, and and so I was like, the 90s were like a really cool time for music because it's like anything went on the radio. Like the weirdest shit was on the radio, but then there was like R&B and rap on, now it's like almost all rap, R&B and electronic music, but back then it was like everything.
Yeah, a good variety.
And so from a young age I got into like different music. Like I was like dyeing my hair blue and pink in like 7th grade and shit.
Were you playing in bands and stuff back then?
No, well, crudely. Like I think I had learned how to play some chords on guitar, and then I played bass a little bit. And I also have short, stubby fingers, so I felt like it never worked out for me. Drumming was like a natural fix. I could just fucking caveman, like club the drums. And I think that what it was, so my friends were in bands. I started going to like punk and hardcore shows and like metal shows and stuff after that.
What venues?
There was Club Laga in Oakland was a huge one.
Yeah.
That was like,
So you were going to the city from Irwin. Like that's a little bit
city,
of a clip.
Yeah, city. There was Graffiti was a place. Now it's like a BMW dealer or some shit. I was in Oakland as well.
Yeah.
I saw like death and black metal bands. I got into like stuff like that, and like that's where I saw my first hardcore show, a band called Madball. Bad Religion was my first show. I was 12. I saw Bad Religion at Metropole in the Strip District. So
you've been going for a long time.
30 years I've been into like,
So besides music, I mean, what are you into growing up? Like, are you
skateboarding?
Playing? Okay, yeah.
I was just like a punk skater kid. I played baseball. I wasn't very good.
What was your like idea of what you were going to do after school? Like as a career?
Music. And I did do it until, I pretty much at like 32, I was like, all right, plan B. Because I never had a plan B because I believed in the plan A so much as what I'd been doing for so long. And like, I came close, and I had music.
Well, when did it start being like a reality where you
23.
Okay.
Started touring, did my first US tour across the country, at 23.
With 1-2-3?
No, with a band called Take Over UK. I was friends with, this band called the Juliana Theory, who were like
to them.
They're like an emo band that like made it like a national fame, but they were from Greensburg.
Yeah, I was more of an emo. I'm 34.
Okay,
so I was in the sweet spot of the emo.
Right, so you were like the Warped Tour generation,
all
that, and I was around for some of that Warped Tour stuff too. That was kind of when
Yeah, I had a unique exposure. I have a 6-year-old brother, or brother that's 6 years older than me, that exposed me to all the rap,
similar,
Master P, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and then through my own endeavors, I got into all the emo shit.
Yeah.
So I had a good, and then my dad raised me on all the old classic rock and everything.
Sure.
So I had a good variety. But 23, you start this band and you start touring around. Where how long does that first band take over UK?
So that was shit, man. 6 or 7 years we did that. And it was like the classic. So we started playing and we made a demo and people started to dig it locally. And
where were you guys playing?
just like Pittsburgh clubs. There was like Club Cafe, which is actually closing.
Yeah, I know.
Brillo Box in like Bloomfield, Lawrenceville area. So the 31st Street Pub, which is now some like clothing store in the Strip District, was a very famous like punk, like rock and roll bar back in like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
That's interesting.
It's funny, Anthony from the Damo's Pizza. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, he's my episode 300. He was just in here a week ago.
So him and I have been known each other for a long time, and he was in a band called Black Tie Review. Did you guys talk about that?
Oh yeah, we talked about
All right, so our bands used to play together all the time.
Yeah, Yins have a similar through line.
Yeah, and it's funny. And so like when I started getting into pizza, it was just a natural like, yo, Anthony, like I just started asking him questions about like just the logistics of like getting started. You know what I mean? I had a vision for my own pizza, but like Anthony was like an influence on me as far as like how to make it a reality, for the general public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was making pizzas for me and my friends, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing for, capitalism.
When did that start?
Are we jumping ahead? What, the music or the pizza?
Well, you jumped into pizza, so I figured I'd ride
we'll
with
get
that.
there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
but
so I mean, like you were in Takeover UK. You said you were in there for 7 years. So we were playing with Black Tie
Review. Yeah. So we did that. We started touring the U.S. And then we did a residency in L.A. in 2005. And like we played we got a residency at the I want to say it was the Viper Room, which is like Johnny Depp at the time owned that place, and it was like really nuts and surreal because like you were like behind a curtain set up, and then like they would like announce your band, like pull it. I was like, pull the curtain back. I was like, it was like the Ed Sullivan Show or something.
You
60s.
guys were signed back then?
No, so that's how we got signed.
Okay.
We got a manager saw us and we played there. So we played Johnny Depp's club. We played Cantor's Deli. We had another residency, and that's in Hollywood. And it was like this deli / venue. It was so weird. They sold like sandwiches and then they had like bands play there.
Yeah, I've only ever heard other people talk about that on podcasts, like bigger podcasts.
Cantor's Deli?
Yeah, Cantor's Deli.
Yeah. So that was how
what kind of music were you playing? Like what was Takeover UK?
So Takeover UK, I mean, we all were big. So basically after I got into like punk and hardcore and metal and in high school and whatnot, I started smoking pot and listening to the Beatles and Pink Floyd. That's like the trajectory for I feel like a lot of people, and then so from there it like changed. I fell in love with like rock and roll music, whereas I grew up like a punk kid and like a metal kid, and I still like all that stuff. I still listen to metal. Some of my favorite album of last year is a death metal album from a band called Blood Incantation. It's like, to me, it's one of the best heavy albums ever released.
Wow.
And it just came out last year. Dude, it's like Forbes magazine reviewed it. Like
Blood Incantation.
Yeah, they're from Colorado. It's like it like went mainstream as far as like that type of music could go. Like it was being reviewed in places that it should not have been reviewed in. They're super good. It's like progressive death metal. It almost sounds like death metal meets like Pink Floyd or like 70s prog music or something like that. It's super creative. It's just awesome.
So all the stuff that you were getting into started morphing your sound.
Right. So then, I got into like 60s stuff, and then at that time, that's when like the whole like White Stripes, the Strokes, the Hives, like all those early 2000s like 60s kind of like mod rock revival bands started. And that's kind of like the lane that Takeover UK was in. Although we didn't sound like any of those bands. Like there was 2 really good songwriters in the band, and one of them, Nick, was the singer of 1-2-3 as well. So we left Takeover after 7 years and started 1-2-3. But Takeover had its own like, 60s influence, like hyper aggressive pop, sound.
That's cool. I was listening to 1-2-3 a little bit today. And now that you say that, I could kind of see where that kind of bleeds into it all. Like I was listening to Confetti, and he has a very unique voice. Yeah,
it kind of has like almost like a early Van Morrison meets like early Mick Jagger, kind of like a raspy growl to it.
A raspy growl, like with like a whine kind of.
Some people have said Billy Corgan. I don't think it was quite as obnoxious as Billy Corgan's voice.
Yeah, he's a little exaggerated.
Yeah, although I of course like early Smashing Pumpkins as well. But I had the shirt in 7th grade, and I had to get it turned inside out because I had this Smashing Pumpkin shirt that had like, it was like an outer space scene, but it had like floating condoms with a smiley faces on it. And so they made me fucking turn the shirt inside out. So did that. And then that band ran its course. Nick was like, yo, I've been working on these songs. And like,
how long was 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3 was from only 4 years.
Okay. So you're right around like 2012?
No, end of 09 into 10 at this point.
Okay.
So Takeover's 04. So it's Takeover 6 years. 1, 2, 3 was 4 years.
Okay.
Nick and I were in a band before that called the Revolvers. And that was just a local thing. Like we actually played with the Black Keys in front of 60 people. We opened for the Black Keys. They played at a place called The World, which is now like
Where was that?
I want to say it's like where like Balvanero is in the Strip District. That new like fucking, that new like Peruvian steakhouse or whatever the hell it is or something. It's some sort of
That's wild.
South America. Yeah, there used to be venues on like Radiohead and played down there and like back in the day.
It sucks being as young as not as young as I am, but like being younger. I missed out on a lot of the cool venues.
You did,
yeah,
you did, and I feel like the more that we progress over the, I had this thing where I was worried about aging and like afraid of death. I mean, you know, maybe even a little more than the average person might be. But now I've like, as I see how the world is progressing, I'm like, man, I kind of maybe grew up in the last era where like humanity was still somewhat intact.
Yeah,
because it was like
it's a free for all now.
Well, like the late 90s and early 2000s and even like 2010, 12, like whatever, like I feel like it was the apex of, or, you know, like the pinnacle of where technology worked for us, but didn't actually like consume our entire existence.
Yeah. Like I didn't have a cell phone until I was a senior in high school. And now I have a goddaughter who's 10 who has cell phones. Like it's crazy to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember in like 2007, my cell phone, like you would try to like, you could like look at like websites or whatever, but it like took like 5 minutes to load them. And you know,
yeah, it's wild to think about that.
You know, it's sad that kids won't ever experience the joy of like your parents taking you to Blockbuster Video on Friday night and like getting to pick out a video game to rent and then like a thing of candy, you know, rewind that shit or it's 99-cent fee.
That was literally my life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And there was a humanity and a human connection that is just, it's gone from the world now.
Yeah.
And I'm not fucking like, I got young nephews. I'm still into like, you know, I guess young shit for a guy my age. So I'm not here to sound like some. I'm not here to sound like some like cry ass boomer, like, you know, old man yells at clouds. But I truly believe that, like, you know,
we just have like an overstimulation. It's just like, you know, there's not really like an opportunity for us to like, you know, actually spend any time developing taste. It's just like overly stimulated. Like by 1 second we're watching something and then, you know, shit's just pouring onto you. It's hard to like, you know, kind of like sit and marinate into something.
Well, yeah, like look at even now, I mean, it's been this way for a few years, but like you watch a video on YouTube and there's an edit every 5 seconds. It's like that whole like, da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. It didn't used to be that way. Like, you know, like it's a scene change, and it's just a guy with the same camera, you know, facing him with the same clothes on, nothing's happening. He's saying the same sentence. But he has to because of like our attention spans have collectively been like dulled to shit.
I know, TikTok, man. It's a blessing and a curse.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I could see the good, but you know, being able to experience before it all, you know, you could understand, you know, the negative of it all.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why it's easy for people to like write this off as like some old man shit, but like it's not, because like I utilize all the same things that like, you know, Gen Z or whoever else younger than me is utilizing, but I also was right in that era before it.
Yeah,
and
so you got to see both like, sides of the coin,
right? And it was better in the in between stage.
Well, whenever you get out of, you know, doing music and you like realize that that's not gonna, you know, fold out to be like you become like some famous rich rock star, you know, how does that like, you know, kind of unfold after that? Like, so did you think you were gonna ever be a pizza man?
I had so it's weird, it was like a abstract concept in my mind that was never like thought about beyond like I'm gonna pizza shop one day. And it's weird to think about. So I set out to do 2 goals in my life, which was just to play music and have my own pizza shop. So I've done both of them. I would have liked the music thing to go a little further, but I also realized the type of music that I'm into has a cap on how far you can go unless you're like extremely, extremely lucky. You know what I mean? Like I didn't live in LA or New York too. That's like where the record labels are and people of influence are. You can play Pittsburgh 5 days a week and you will never play in front of anyone that can actually change your life for the better.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. And that's not just a Pittsburgh thing. That's every other city thing besides New York, LA, and Nashville, maybe Austin, Texas, New Orleans.
Yeah, these like big hubs.
Where music is like very indigenous and there's a culture of certain types of music. Nashville being country, the places like New Orleans with like jazz and blues and things like that.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like here, like you said, people could play every day here, and it's just like
nothing will ever
there's
happen.
so many incredibly talented people here,
right?
That
just play for the same 50 people or
100%.
whoever show up to the shows.
Yeah,
and so basically, Nick. 1, 2, 3 made a double album. So after we had a 1 album deal with our record label, and then like Nick was like, "Yo, I want to make this like double album and make it about like," which is kind of funny because I feel like it's a little more relevant now. But like, it was called Big Weather, and it was a 20-song double album about like post-apocalyptic scenarios.
What year is this?
2000. It came out 2014. We started recording it at like 12. We played it for the label, and they're like, "No." And so we were like, fuck it, we're going to do this with or without you guys. So we started our own record label called American Hermitage, and we put it out ourselves, like pressed vinyl and everything. It was a double gatefold vinyl LP. Songs about, county fairs being flooded and people dying on Ferris wheels and, various strange apocalyptic scenarios that feel a little, fires feel a little too relevant, like as time goes on. And then, so Nick was just like, look, and him and I lived in LA in 2010 and we moved back to Pittsburgh, and he was like, look, we're going to put this album out, and if nothing happens, it's like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to LA. And he did that. I was pretty bummed out. I was mad at him for a while. He's still one of my best friends. We talk all the time. He was just here in December. We hung out. And he's doing great. I mean, he does like, he's a composer now. And so he does like stuff for like film and TV. He just did some animated show called Scavenger's Reign for HBO that is like, I'm not into like animated stuff, but like the people who are like losing their mind over this show.
Yeah, I'm not I never watched like Adventure Time shit like that either.
Yeah, this is more like, I want to say it's not anime, but it's approaching that type of seriousness. Like it's like a serious drama. It's like very beautiful. Like I've watched it. Like it's not my thing, but like I can tell if people who are into that, they would be into that. So he's doing great. I was floating in the wind for a while, and I was working at different restaurants, Asian restaurants and other things like in Squirrel Hill, and then like in 2016, I was like, yo, I'm going to make I started making pizza. I'm like, I'm going to dive into this. And so I started learning all I could. And
this is all off of YouTube?
That's how it started. Yeah. And then I started like, there's a website called pizzamaking.com where a lot of people in the industry would post. And
it's an original name.
Yeah. And I ended up like having a phone call with the guy who like made like Papa John's like dough recipe or something, like just like, and we talked for like hours on the phone, and just I gained like a bunch of knowledge and
why pizza though? Like where does your love of pizza come into play? If
I've always loved pizza, man. I've always loved pizza, and I feel like like it's specifically New York style pizza, but to get like a little more like deeper, and I had thought about this. And my mom was a night shift nurse, and so my parents were divorced, and so like I have 3 sisters, and my 2 older ones had already moved out, and then so me and my younger sister were like 13 and 12, and my mom would like and so she would like, I left a 20 on the table, like order a pizza. And that became this like thing, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like where it was like the only food we had.
Yeah.
And because of just my mom was doing to make ends meet after my parents got divorced. And I don't know if that's what sparked it, but it's, the more I think about it, I feel like, if you want to get on some like Freudian level, that might be the reason that I am into pizza.
That makes sense.
But the reality is everyone fucking loves pizza, like it's like even like different cultures that like hate American style food, like Indian culture or, like Chinese people, they like pizza.
Yeah.
They hate everything else from it. They hate dessert. They think our shit's too sugary. The American food's too fattening. It's just, it's cheese and tomato sauce and bread. Like it's, what's your problem if you don't like it?
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's a good point though. I mean, like that was like a nostalgic, like cornerstone of growing up was like same thing with my parents. So, there's 20 on the table, get a pizza, which is cool. That's an interesting way to think about that.
I grew up in like the good era of Pizza Hut too. Back when they used to use brick ovens and they made their own dough and stuff. And they had the Book It program where if you read all these books, you would get a little personal pan pizza.
Yeah, that Pizza Hut in White Oak used to be popping.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible now.
It's no good.
There's a Pizza Hut in Somerset, PA that my friends turned me on to at first. That is actually more similar to old school Pizza Hut.
Yeah, they still have the buffet and everything.
I don't know if they have the buffet, but there's a salad bar there, and they have like the old Pac-Man game.
I'm
and
hip to that one too. I have family up there. That's why we would go there.
Yeah, and like it still has like kind of that like golden fried like bottom, like the crunchy, whatever. And so I
started making pizza.
Yeah, so I started making pizza in 2016. Learned all I could about it. I gained 20 pounds that year, which I've been struggling to get off for the last 9 years. Back and forth.
Little R&D.
Yeah, I was making pizza 4 days a week, and my then girlfriend was like, "Dude, no more, please. I can't have pizza another night." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you got to try this new sauce I have." And like, she's like, "Fuck." And so I was like, "All right." I'm setting a 5-year plan. In 5 years, I'm going to have my own pizza shop. And then 5 months later, I signed the lease to open my first pizza shop.
Where the Big Shot Bob's was?
Yeah.
Where's
1955 Lincoln Way, right next to the old Rockaway.
Okay,
right next to the last Rockaway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I opened on January 3rd, 2017.
2017. I feel like I was late to the game with it. I feel like
a lot of people were, man. A lot of people were. I didn't really advertise. I was that tiny little building. I had no sign.
Yeah.
And it was just word of mouth, really. And I was getting press early on. Like the Gazette did an article like 2 months after I opened. But I kind of just like grew the lore of Rockaway in that little building, and I'm glad I did because. I mean, I thought I sucked at making pizza back then.
Were you making like the New York style originally?
I was making New York style originally, but it was different than what I do now. I started out making it on pizza screens, which I just was a result of like no one else around here really knowing how to do the old school method of like, using a wooden peel and cooking it around the stone. So I started out doing that. I think I was still a little too regionally influenced. Like my pizza had a little heavier cheese on it. The sauce was a little more like zesty and robust than it is now, which is more like a cleaner, tomato forward flavor.
Yeah.
But the bones of it were there. Like, I was using like a good hydrated and fermented dough. I was finishing what I was doing differently from everyone else at the time, which is why I think a lot of people took to it other than, thin and crispy pizza wasn't something that was really found around here that much. Most places do a mix of part skim mozzarella and provolone blended together. And so I was using a 3 cheese blend, but the pizza cheese was just whole milk mozzarella, but I was blending Pecorino Romano and Parmigiano Reggiano, like the Italian aged versions, not like, craft shaker parm, but
like got the legit,
like 24-month aged parm. That's like very nutty and sweet tasting and salty. And I think that it has what the Japanese call umami, and I think that is one of the big secrets, to the Rockaway flavor is the combination of like, the cleaner like mozzarella, which really just provides chew. I think it's provolone to me is kind of weird on pizza. It's like waxy and strange. But
where's the name come from?
Twofold. The Ramones. I was a huge Ramones fan. They were famous on Rockaway Beach, but also Rockaway is the area that spans from like New York down into New Jersey, like the far Rockaway areas, like Rockaway, Brooklyn, and Queens. And strangely enough, no one had the name Rockaway Pizzeria up there, in the Rockaways. Like there's a town and area, like and all that. And it's like, no one had it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now the menu, whenever you first started, were you just doing pizza or were you doing like,
No, I had always had like a salad and a couple sandwiches and like garlic knots on the menu. And the menu got bigger and bigger over time. Which is weird because I now at this new location, I'm kind of trying to bring it back, scale it down and make it more simple.
Yeah.
I kind of realize what works and what doesn't work or what's worth my time rather, like it's.
Yeah. You want to
especially after the Portnoy thing happened, and it's just
you want
like,
to play the hits.
Yeah. And it's fine, and like I'm creatively driven. So I would always keep around these ingredients that, I would only sell, like to this day, I still won't give up on my clam pizza, even though I sell like maybe 6 of them a week, like, out of like over 1,000 pizzas a week, or whatever the hell, it is 15, I was doing a lot of pizzas by the time I closed in White Oak.
Yeah. So 17, you started at the small spot, and how long until you went to the other spot?
I did 2.5 years at the small location.
Why did you end up moving that out? Needed to scale up?
Because that got to the point where like I couldn't do Sicilians on the weekends because of oven space. It was just getting too busy. My lease was up, and I was on a month-to-month lease with my landlord, and like I had to make a decision. Like, do I sign here for 5? He wanted me 5 years there, and I'm like, I'll never grow if I stay here for this long. And so basically, there was a building next door that was an old doctor's office, and that closed, and the owner was like, and then UPMC moved into like the Plaza by John Eagle, like the Rainbow Plaza, or the hell it's called over there. And I was like telling this dude, like, look, man, the UPMC is here now. You ain't getting shit. There ain't going to be another mom and pa doctor rolling in this spot. And he was like, okay, well, let's do it. And then he changed his mind. And I was like, what the, and then.
Why White Oak originally though?
Because it was this, so that location was a turnkey. So everything was there. I just walked in and paid $1,000 a month.
What was the place before that?
There was a few places. So the Nigro family, like John Nigro owns that building.
Okay.
And so he tried to come back with Nigros, and it didn't work out for whatever reason.
Were you hip to it whenever it was open before?
What?
Nigros?
The old school one? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like a landmark joint in that area.
Yeah.
And now, like one of the Steelers got shot there or something, and then it was like,
oh yeah, wow.
Russell Stuvons got shot.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow. So you, if you go there from White Oak, I mean, like that was the only reason you ended up there, is just because that was a turnkey spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what people don't get, is that like everyone was mad at me for leaving. Not everyone, but a lot of people were mad. And it was like, bro, like I put in 7.5 years of my life to you guys, and I don't live out here. I've lived in Pittsburgh. Like even my address now, even though it's, closer to Churchill, is Pittsburgh. And I lived in, Greenfield and Squirrel Hill and Regent Square. And my other restaurant, Hemlock House, is in Regent Square. And so I found a building across the street. And I'm just like, I have to stay in White Oak to make your life easier, but what about my life?
Yeah. So that smaller spot, you moved to the other spot. What was in the other spot?
So that was the doctor's office.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that was the thing where like I convinced this guy to do it.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was just like, no one. I was like UPMC's here, and because he was having trouble, he's like, I can't find someone. I was like, well, yeah, because like the big dogs are in town now. It used to be that Lincoln Way was littered with like independent doctors. And
that's where I went for growing up.
Right. That guy died. Sometimes that building I think's haunted. Like we would hear like weird shit, and like you feel like you would see like a person out of the corner of your eye there at night. I used to hate leaving that building alone.
There's some weird shit going on over there in McKeesport.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like whenever you ended up moving, I mean, I'm sure you were established by then.
I was I didn't really know how much people gave a shit until I was closed for damn near a year and a half. And then when I came back...
That's how long it took, a year and a half?
Almost a year and a half, because basically what happened was I closed in July of 2019.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be reopened within a few months. And then basically like it took a little longer than anticipated, like everything always does. I mean, even now I'm 4 months into this new building, and I'm, everyone's asking me, people message me all the time, when you open? They don't realize, first of all, you're only hip to this shit because you already know who I am. If you started a restaurant and you were just taking your girl at time, no one would fucking know that you spent the last year, That's my Hemlock House restaurant was 10 months to open. No one knew because no one knew what the fuck Hemlock House was. You know what I mean? So like they know what Rockaway is and they're like acting like I'm fucking had my thumb up my ass here. And it's like, dude, this just takes this long to do this stuff. Like
for sure.
Sometimes it takes the health department 3 weeks to answer a yes or no email question. You know what I mean? Like you don't realize.
Yeah, a bunch of hoops to jump through.
Sure. And that's what it is. So like basically, so I closed in July 2019. Was supposed to be a few months. Got to like January, February, I was a little short on the budget to finish the job. So I started kind of poking, and I was kind of broke at that point. Like, I'd spent money doing that. And then I start looking around for loans. I get someone to give me a loan early March of 2020. And then right as they process the loan, they're like, hey, we're sorry, but due to this, like, whatever's going on, like the president just called a national emergency. Like, we're no longer giving any loans out to any volatile industries. Like, we're sorry, it has nothing to do with you. And I was just like, well, shit. So I sat until they rolled out those, like, the SBA, like, disaster relief funds. Like the Los Angeles Lakers got $10 million. Did you know that?
I know. That's ridiculous. I know a lot of people got a lot of money for that shouldn't have needed it.
So I got a paltry sum in comparison. By comparison, and I didn't get that till July, and I was like
July 2020,
and I wasn't like. So after that, I actually went to before that I went to the Rue Bar to make pizza because the guy Rob who owned the Rue Bar was like, yeah, just come here and make pizza here, and so like I basically like made pizza there. Like
is that closed?
I don't know. I still talk to Rob here and there.
What's his last name? I don't know. My dad built that tattoo shop, whatever it was.
Van Meter or something.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And he had been looking to sell it for a long time. I don't know what he was doing with it.
Well, was the Rue Bar making their own shit, and was it Pizza and Gyro Express still there?
Yeah, they were still there.
Okay, yeah.
Rue Bar was making their own pizza, but eventually, I basically swapped out. I gave the Rue Bar the original Rockaway dough recipe in exchange for letting me fucking make pizza there rent free, because they were buying like frozen dough. And I was like, dude, I have this old mixer. I got this 30-quart shitty mixer from like I got it on like eBay or something for like $1,000. Like, take this, I'll give you a dough recipe, because my dough recipe since the original Rockaway has changed like several times. So I gave him the original one, and then I made pizza out there, and he had a brick oven, but it was like a very weak brick oven, and to me that was the worst pizza ever made professionally. Even though I'm very appreciative for them letting me do it, I felt like, and I had loyal customers, even dudes like Mark Cabali, the Pittsburgh writer, the Pittsburgh sports writer, was coming out there, to the Rue Bar to get the pizza, and then I finally get the money in like July of 2020, finish the stuff up, then have to go through the rounds of the health department inspections, and then I think I announced like 3 days before I opened in November. I was like, hey, Rockaway 2.0s will be open on November, whatever it was, 10th or 14th or some shit. And dude, there was a line like down the sidewalk, and it's a 3-hour wait for pizza for 2 months every day of the week.
That's because the people of White Oak needed a breath of fresh air. There was the local hitters that's been around there forever.
I think that Rockaway filled a gap for people that just, so you had like Veltri's and Luciano's were like the two, like,
Luciano's was where we went all the time growing up. And like Luciano's is a sopping pizza that just thick, doughy, cheesy, overly done. But I still love it.
Luciano's, like, I remember back in the day, like, so like Luciano's was basically to me victim of like what happens to a lot of places, which you the original owners are in there grinding, and then you start to see some success, and then you step off the line, and you let other people touch your stuff, and you let other people touch your stuff, and then it's like if I paint a picture of, I'm sitting here, I'm painting a picture of you, and then I show my friend the picture, and then he paints it, and then he shows it to his girlfriend. She paints it. Now,
I get what you're saying.
10 pictures down the line, And that really longer looks like the picture that I painted.
Yeah, it gets watered down. I think
that's what happened. I think that Luciano's also, from what I understand, like may have cheapened their ingredients too.
We frequented whenever it was at UPS right on the corner next to that Subway.
Yeah, that's when the brothers still made the pizza there.
Yeah, that was so good. And then whenever it just went over to that big spot, it was good in the beginning, but then it just like, I don't know. Plus it's like, you're getting waxed for an extra large pizza there. Like it's crazy money. And if they
for a while, they were charging what, like in the 20s or something like that.
I mean, we got an extra large pizza one time, and I swear to God, it was like $30-some. Which was, I don't mind paying for good food, but it's like, if the quality is going down, I'm not paying more for it.
Yeah.
But Veltry's was also a place that was like, a big hitter, and obviously it's a different owner, but the old man who was doing it whenever it was in the original spot where Patty's was.
We talking Vince Veltry?
Yeah, Vince.
Yeah, Vince is a cool dude.
Cool dude, and he was making a great ass pie.
Right, and then he did the same thing. So he was in the old Patty's building, and he was going straight on the stone.
Yeah.
And then he switched to pizza screens, and then, he made his product worse out of convenience. Like we talked about the one day he bought some new pizza, and this isn't me cutting up anyone. Like I don't have a sense of competition. For me, pizza's like golf. I'm trying to beat my own score. Like I don't give a shit about what the next person's doing. Do I think my pizza's better than theirs? Absolutely. I wouldn't be making it if I didn't think. It's like we talk about UFC. If you don't think you're the best fighter in the world, you shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah.
Even if objectively maybe this dude's better, you have to believe that.
Yeah.
What are you getting out of bed? It's hard work. If I owned a Domino's franchise, it'd be hard as hell. The same way owning Rockaway is hard as hell. So if you're gonna be there all day grinding and standing, you might as well try and do something special.
Yeah, you got to believe in your product for sure.
So I think that Vince had told me they switched ovens and his dough kept burning, and I was like, there's ways to fix that, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
he's an old man. He was ready to get out the game for sure.
For sure. But and it's like, look, man, everyone has their own reasons for why I do things. Like my motivation was never ever money, like ever. And in fact, my pizza to this day is too cheap, which is I'm going to fix that when I get to Pittsburgh. I'm finally going to charge people like what my pizza I think is worth, and maybe even still $1 or $2 less than it probably should be, because I just grew up blue collar working class, and I kind of feel bad about charging people money.
Yeah,
but dude, I was selling an 18-inch New York pizza for $12 when I opened. Just a few years, wasn't that long ago, my pizza was $12.
Yeah.
And there was more cheese on it then than there is now. So like my profit margins were like, I'd made like almost no money those first 2.5 years.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that I kept going back is like, you weren't waxing people too crazy for your pizza. And it was a great pizza. So it was like,
dude, even when I ended, I was charging $18 for a pizza that was this big.
And that's very fair. Still a very fair price for sure. And I can understand that, but that's why you're here. That's why I talk to you. I mean, there's 1,000 fucking pizza places in Pittsburgh that I overlook because I just don't give a fuck about what their product is. But I find the good stuff and I roll with it. But so you went to that second spot and you were there for 4 or 5 years.
No, so I just shy of 4 years.
Just shy of 4.
2020 to end of 24. Well, October 24.
Yeah.
So about 4 years. I broke my lease early because I had to, because the building across the street from me was about to go to another restaurant. And I hunted down the owner of the building and I was like, what's going on here? And he's like, oh, I know who you are. He's like, blah, 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 let's talk. He's like, I don't have anything in stone. They've never owned a restaurant. They're still up in the air. And I was like, dude, let me do it. This neighborhood needs pizza. This is like the last Pittsburgh neighborhood doesn't have like a flagship pizzeria. Not the last, but one of them. And so that's how that panned out. And I just had to make the jump. Like it was just one of those things. It's like now or never.
Down in Bakery Square.
Regent Square.
Regent Square, that's it.
Yeah, Bakery Square is like about 5 minutes down the road from Regent Square.
Now, why that spot though?
Well, because my restaurant was across the street.
Okay, well, why was Hemlock down there?
Because I think it's a great neighborhood.
Give me a little background on Hemlock, first of all.
Okay.
Where did this come from? If you're making pizza and you're doing a pizza joint, where does this come from?
It actually, Hemlock House started for a few reasons, but the most literal reason is that I was looking at that building to be the new Rockaway. And when I got in there, the kitchen was just way too small. Like there was no way that a brick oven was going to fit in that kitchen. I still think pound for pound, Hemlock House produces the most impressive food in Pittsburgh when you account for the ridiculous, antiquated shit we have to cook on and how small the kitchen is. Our kitchen is like, the size of like basically if you took like the back of your couch and just went to like where your little TV, like literally this space.
Yeah.
That's tiny, man. For like 5 dudes being back there on a Friday night and shit, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What kind of food?
I hate answering this question because I remember when I first opened, I would be like, people were like, "Oh, what's the deal with Hemlock?" And I would be like, "It's like, you know, like they say about Seinfeld, a show about nothing." That was like Seinfeld's like slogan, you know. And then so Hemlock House is like, you know, so Hemlock House.
Did I see something about kielbasa corn dogs or something?
That was on our first menu. Yeah, we had that when we opened. That was dope. It ended up being logistically hard to do because it's weird to try and bread and spike a giant kielbasa and fry it, and they would explode sometimes. And we had only a tiny bit of fryer room, so it would be like, you know, fucking up the fries that would go with the burgers and stuff like that.
I got a buddy who said that the burgers are crazy.
I think it's easily in the top 5 best burgers in Pittsburgh. And you know, I wouldn't, if someone said it was the best burger in Pittsburgh, I wouldn't argue. And I'm not saying that because I own it.
Yeah.
Because I don't, my chef does it. You know what I mean? So it's not
I
like me
appreciate
being
you
biased.
saying top 5 instead of just saying, you know, the best, because we got a lot of good ones around here.
Yeah, for sure. No, dude, like I said, I'm not delusional about the stuff that I make, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that if someone else wants to call another pizza shop the best pizza in Pittsburgh, I think there's a very, very short list ahead of me if there was one.
Yeah.
I have no problem with them saying it. You want to say Driftwood Oven's better than me? You want to say Pizza Lupo's better than me? You want to say Gus Franco's better than me? You want to say Badon better? Fine. They're worthy of...
Yeah, that's good company to be in.
Right. I think that Rockaway as a whole is the most versatile pizza shop in the area, and I just say that because of the specialty pizza repertoire that exists at Rockaway, and not just when you consider the menu stuff, but I have about 30 pizzas that are off menu items. If you've ever come to Rockaway on Friday or Saturday morning when we had all the slices out,
yeah,
I was doing like insane stuff. That was not on the
meatball
menu.
was crazy,
yeah, dude. Yeah, I did like at one point I did like a gorgonzola fondue with like New York strip steak on top of a Sicilian pizza. It was just like wild stuff. It was like, you know, like it's a extension of like my creative music career is how I see Rockaway. But if we're talking like the fastball, your cheese pizza, which is the standard, like someone wants to say Driftwood's better than mine, whoever, dude, fine, it's great pizza.
Yeah.
So the same for Hemlock, right? You want to say what's the Bloomfield place, Tesaro's or whatever? Like,
yeah,
you know,
everyone talks about that.
You know, Moonlit. Although smash burgers are like their own category. I feel like it's like we do like the classic like 8-ounce like pub burger or whatever you want to call it, where you can actually get it, you know, mid rare. So I would never compare burgers to like a smash burger joint. But like as far as like a meaty, bloody burger, like I think Hemlock is really tops. Our blend is cool. So what makes it a bit different is we mix in beef cheek into it. And if you know anything about the cheek of an animal, it's extremely tender and delicious. My favorite sushi in Pittsburgh is Mola in East Liberty. And he has like an incredible selection of tuna and Toro, which Toro is, you know, the fatty belly of the tuna. But he has something called Kamatoro, which is the tuna cheek.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like...
Poor man's cheek is a walleye cheek is unreal. You ever have some walleye cheeks?
I never had walleye, period.
Man, banging.
But the Kamatoro is so... It just feels like something that like you shouldn't be eating. Like it's so decadent.
Yeah.
Like there's this oil slick in your mouth. Like, you know, you feel like the U.S. Army is going to invade your mouth, you know what I mean, for that shit. It's just there for like 5 or 10 minutes. That's a Gordon Ramsay quote.
So why does you just wanted to put that into where Hemlock is and you couldn't use that, so you just said fuck it?
Yeah, I had some chef buddies, and they were kind of doing some gigs they weren't happy with, and I was like, and because there was a bar there, I feel like it was like Hemlock House is like an extension of like part of what the second Rockaway did, which is like
allow you some versatility.
Well, not even just that, but like aesthetically. You go into Rockaway, I had like all the pop culture, like horror movie shit on the wall, band stuff on the wall. Music was pretty loud for like a White Oak, like kind of, you know, older neighborhood where it's not like a hop and city joint. In fact, I had to throw some people out sometimes because they were like back there touching my stereo. I'm like, dude, don't touch my shit. He's like, it's too loud. I'm like, dude, it's Saturday night. Fucking enjoy yourself, dude. Or go to Luciano's and listen to elevator music and eat pizza. Like, I don't like, you know, like it was like fucking like, you know, like Exile on Main Street's blasting in there while you're eating like a slice of pizza. Dude, enjoy your fucking life, man.
Yeah.
So this is what I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my restaurant.
Yeah, you created
I want
your
the music
environment.
loud as hell. It's part of the experience. And in fact, I got a lot of people that love this shit. They're like, dude, the Rockaway playlist is banging.
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, you know, so with Hemlock House, it's like,
When did that open?
Hemlock?
Yeah.
July of 23.
Okay.
And I started pursuing it in September of 22, and I got really, really bad COVID. Like I got fucked up from it. And people who followed Rockaway, they could probably remember, because Rockaway was in rough shape for like 2 months, man. My pizza maker held it down, but a lot of my recipes were to taste, which I've rectified at this point. Like, so like I was just like, all right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make all of my sauces, and I am going to make them on a food scale so I can replicate them no matter if I'm there or not. And just for some reason, for all these years, it was always done to like, it's done when I say it's done.
Yeah.
You know, with the spoon, not more sugar, more garlic, you know, not sugar, I'm sorry, more salt, more garlic, whatever. And then so like, it's funny, the day before I tested positive for COVID, I made the sauce in the morning. I tasted it. It tasted horrible. It tastes like burnt ketchup is what I thought it tasted like. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, there's something wrong with these tomatoes. So I go and my sauce recipe is like 35 pounds of sauce at one time, right? So it's like it's a big amount of tomato sauce. And so I make another 35 pounds of sauce.
Tastes like shit.
Tastes like shit.
Because you got COVID.
And so I'm like pissed off. I'm like, right, because it's like Thursday, going to the weekend. I call my distributor. He's like, dude, what the fuck's going on, man? These tomatoes are whack, like they're old, whatever. He's like, all right, well, I'm gonna hook you up with your tomato company. It's this company from like wine country, like Modesto, California, and they're super cool as far as like, you know, their customer service goes. Like they'll send you free shit. They're like the owner, the CEO, like call you. So they call me like, hey man, you know, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, dude, like I got to open here in like in 20 minutes, like, and I don't have pizza sauce. He's like, it's so weird. He's like, this batch is all harvested on this date, and you know, whatever you've been using for the last 2 months is the same batch, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, man, I don't know, but something's way off here. And the next day I tested positive for COVID.
That's crazy.
And then I, you know, my smell and taste were like fucked for quite a while. And yeah, so anyways, that was right around the time I was trying to get Hemlock going, and that actually got stalled. And mine turned into like, technically speaking, long COVID. And thankfully it went away. Like, cause I actually had some shows booked and bands I couldn't play, cause it felt like after I was like done being sick, it felt like every second of every day was 4 a.m, and I had ran a marathon that day. Like the fatigue was so extreme that I couldn't really stand for more than 20 minutes. And I'm the only person I know that gained weight when they had COVID. I gained 15 pounds. That's what I mean. It's like, we talked about how I gained weight when I did the R&D. When I first started, I lost all this weight. I got really into like walking. I downloaded this like steps app. I was walking like 20,000 steps a day, like shin splints and like, you know, like, and then I just gained it all back because my throat hurt so bad for like a month. I was like eating these like fudgesicles because it was the only thing that like would soothe. And I'm just like chowing down on this shit. And then all of a sudden, like, it turns out if you eat a lot of sugar and you lay down for a couple months, you know, you're going to gain some weight. So Hemlock, yeah. So basically, like, I'm like, I want to start a place that's like kind of like a creative playground where we can come up with like some wild stuff, and it's going to be an extension of Rockaway, which is like, you know, the type of music I like, played at a loud volume, and now we can like make it dark in there because it's like a restaurant and bar, and you know. Yeah, it took a minute. I think that the neighborhood was kind of confused about what type of place it was. And, you know, strangely enough, like you would think old people are the ones that come out and try restaurants a lot, like especially new ones. And I'll never forget, every time Rockaway would have like a thing on like KDKA or Post Gazette, you'd see like these like 90-year-olds, and like good for them, man. You know,
that's where they get their info from.
Yeah, I mean, they're still out there, but you know, So this is here's where I'm going to talk bad about old people. They're not very open-minded when it comes to they're set in their ways at that point.
100%.
So
My parents are set in their ways.
Right. They're in there and they're trying some weird ass food, and there's like weird David Lynch artwork on the wall, and there's like, it's dark in there and the music is loud as fuck, and it's just not for them, and like, that's fine. It's not for kids. People are always like, oh, is it kid friendly? I'm like, no.
You need to have a liquor license?
Yeah, it's a full bar.
Okay, yeah.
And like Hemlock House, like, it's like brunch. We do brunch on Saturday and Sunday morning. Like, that's cool for kids, but other than that, like, it's it's not everything is for everybody. Like, I
gotta get down there,
dude. It's really good.
Yeah, I gotta get down there.
So it's like a weird blend of like American bar food meets like French and Asian cuisine, like mashed up. Like, so we have like a Wagyu steak that has miso compound butter on it, and then
it's right up my alley.
We have like crab and bacon hush puppies that have like Peruvian green sauce, which is ahi verde sauce. But
crab and bacon
hush puppies. So it's like strip old school jiffy corn batter with like lump crab meat and like
that's on the menu all the time.
Yeah, that's our biggest seller. It has been since day one.
Oh man,
and they're really good because they're like like the ways that hush puppies get dry. These are like always moist.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. My chef is like very, very good at like fatty foods.
So you're going down there and you open this spot, and then across the street that opens.
That was So that was the place called the Square Cafe for 20 years.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
And so she moved over to East Liberty.
Yeah.
And that place was vacant for like a year and a half. And I was talking to the original owner, and the dude dies, and he leaves the building to his son, and his son is kind of like a shithead, doesn't know what he's doing. And we meet, and he sends over this like complete fucking like real estate stiff asshole who's like, well, I know this building needs this, and this done, but we're not going to do any of it. So take it or leave it. And I was just like, well, dude, you don't even have like a handicap accessibility here. Like, I'm not going to pour concrete in front of your damn building. He's like, well, then it'll just sit. I'm like, okay, so like I was like, you're just gonna, what's the saying? Like, bite off your nose to spite your face or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna wait him out. I'm just gonna wait. And the sign for rent was there for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, fucking year. And finally, the one day the sign's gone. I'm like, shit. What's going on here? And so I just do some sniffing around. I find out that I was right. I'm not right in a lot of areas in life, but the areas that I am right about, I feel like I'm pretty solidly right. Like I let that be my guiding force, as like, the intuition as they call it. Right. So I knew it'd be a bad deal to sign with these people.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, the building gets put for sheriff sale.
No way.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Sheriff sale.
Jeez.
And so the new owner, super cool dude.
So you bought that building?
No. I read it because he bought the whole block basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The whole thing went up.
But you got that going.
Got that going.
How long did it take to build that out?
I mean, we're still doing it.
Oh yeah, I guess so, huh?
Right. So I mean, like I signed. I didn't even tell my White Oak landlord until after I signed.
Yeah. So White Oak was done at what time?
October.
Now, and how? And if you were guessing, when were you going to open the new Rockaway?
October.
You wanted it at the same time. You wanted to open it as quick as you could.
Well, so I signed. I was in that building in June, poking around.
Okay.
I signed the lease in July. I got a couple months free rent because I was like, look, and that's where he was cool. Like, some people were cut through. I'm like, dude, I'm still open out there. This building needs work. Like, charge me just all this money. He's like, nah, it's fine. He's like, we'll float you a few months. And I had a contractor like working on it slowly, like since the summertime. And I'm like, okay, by the time October rolls around, I'll be ready to go. Because the original plan was to close Rockaway like end of August, early September. And then Dave Portnoy shows up.
Yeah. So we got to get into that, obviously. I mean, what is like, walk me through that. When did you start knowing that was going to happen?
I had heard like 2 weeks before he was there that he was supposed to come to Pittsburgh.
How do you hear this?
The pizza industry knows. We know each other.
Okay.
Like a lot of the when I say pizza industry, I mean the craft pizza industry, which is usually Portnoy hits up a lot of bad spots too, but he also is.
Yeah, he finds the good ones.
Again, whatever you think of Dave Portnoy, the one thing that everyone, that you can't take away is he's eaten the best pizza in the world of anyone else. Like he's been to all of the best pizzerias in the world.
Were you now before this happened? Like, what is your gauge of the one bite reviews? Like, I mean, as a pizza guy,
So I used to watch the one bite reviews as a way to kind of just find out about maybe new spot. I'm pretty hip to the national and even international pizza scene, and that's another thing I think separates me. Like if we're talking about like the White Oak area, right?
Yeah.
There's like old school places like the Luciano's and Velch's we talked about, and then there's like a newer generation of pizza maker that is into the science and craft of pizza, and then they follow other pizzerias because craft pizza in the U.S., like the mecca of it is obviously New York City, but then you have Philly and Jersey and New Haven, Connecticut right there, and that's like the pizza belt as we call it, and so I like to know what's going on out there. Because I don't draw my influence locally, I draw it from like New York and like Italy, basically. And yeah, long story short, Portnoy's coming to town, and then it was like, all right, my buddy Sean, who owns Slice in New York, he's even more into like, I'm more of like a leave me alone a lot of times type of guy.
Yeah, dude's online.
He's chronically online, rebel rouser, shit talker, and I'm just like, I'll talk shit if it's talk to me. Like you can check my Google reviews. Like I was clapping back way before Sean was clapping back.
Believe me, I read them all this morning.
But and it's never because someone doesn't like it. If someone's like, I had Rockaway, like it's not for me.
No, you had good reason because
if someone is misrepresenting something, then I say something.
Yeah, like the black bottom pizza, and I read through them just as my little research. But the way that people respond, kind of like. I guess I can make some judgments by the way people respond, but I feel like the way you respond to stuff is warranted for sure.
Dude, I'm never like, do I like hearing someone doesn't like my pizza? Of course not.
Yeah, but some people are just fucking outrageous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like, I'm able to discern someone's like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Sauce is bland.
When
or
there's people
whatever
that
they want to say.
Bitching, they're saying like, yeah, the floor was dirty, and you're like, dude, a whole baseball team was in here.
Right. And he's like, you had, only a couple slices in your slice case. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just afternoon slices, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And
yeah,
like,
it's sold out.
Or people who like complain about, I paid $7.50 for 2 slices. I'm like, dude, you called and we told you the price and you agreed to pay it. So you lose your right to complain.
You did have some people complaining about the loud music though.
Yeah, well,
fuck them.
That's fair. I just don't care. Right. And so at that point, I'm not really going to say anything. Like, it's too loud for you. Fine, it's too loud for you.
Yeah, I get it.
But like, don't come in and say like, oh, the owner was rude or this and that. Like, I'm like, I didn't even talk to you. I stand behind the pizza table. I have people up front for that reason, because as time goes by, I'm more and more like prickly, ordinary character. And I'm just like, I want to do what I do, and I need total focus because I'm like complete scatterbrain ADHD. And if you start, and I talk my customers, I get along with 99% of people that walk in there, but like when I'm in the zone, it's like, leave me the fuck alone, dude. Yeah. Like I have to do this.
So I mean, like, as a pizza maker who owns the shop, like, are you nervous about the Portnoy stuff?
No. And in fact, I mean, nervous in a sense of like, all right, I've built my name up regionally as like one of the better pizzerias in Western PA. Like, fine, it's like, okay, let's see how we compete on a national stage.
Yeah,
it wasn't like I've said before. It's not about Portnoy. Like, in fact, Portnoy to me knows not a lot about pizza. Like but he's not someone that as someone who's not in the pizza industry, the reason that people value his opinions is because he's not like a heady pizza guy. Right.
He's just a guy that is a bite well, does it rip well. Like he's literally the best type of reviewer.
He is, but well, in that regard, but he also needs to learn a little bit more about pizza. If you're going to be the standard bearer for like what is and isn't like great pizza, and he'll even say that's just his opinion too. But like at the end of the day, he's still the most influential pizza person on planet Earth. Yeah, it's the onus is on him, in my opinion, to learn a little bit more. And I'll tell you why. It's because he has this thing where he like claims he doesn't like parm on pizza, and that's a very common thing in my world, like craft pizza world, is like finishing pizza with either like a pecorino romano or parmesan or whatever, Ossia. Pick your type of hard grating cheese, right? Yeah. Basil and olive oil sometimes. Like, And he claims he doesn't like parm. And he's scored pizzas low because of parm, but he also has like, I think 3 or 4 out of his top 10 pizzas are covered in parm. DeFara in Brooklyn, which is his number one, along with DeLucia in New Jersey, both got 9 4s. DeFara is my biggest influence as a pizza maker. Like, that was the first time I had like my mind completely blown by pizza. I was like, this is what I need to do. Lucali in Brooklyn, another one covered in parm. Angelo's, which I think, is probably maybe the best pizza in
where's that at?
In Philly.
Yeah, I know you shouted that out at the end of your review.
Pizza, and they're killer, dude. They're pizza and cheesesteaks. It's like A plus, both of them. Like,
what'd you think your review was going to be?
I didn't know. I thought it could have been anywhere between like I knew that would be higher than mid 7s. I put too much time and effort and like annoying attention to detail to like let a guy who likes thin and crispy pizza walk out of my thin and crispy pizza shop without scoring it somewhere. And I thought it could go up into the high 8s. And I still think it could have. My dough was not great that day. So like I've been telling people like the pizza that Portnoy got was not special at all. In fact, like I made better pizzas like later that day. He was the first pizza of the day. I made 2 of them. I launched 2 because I saw it was a Massachusetts phone number, and I already knew he was in Pittsburgh at that point. So I'm like, this is him because it was a cheese pizza. He's from Massachusetts, a Massachusetts phone number. His cameraman's name was used Austin, so I knew. I fire one. I fire a second one in. He shows up like 2 minutes later. He walks in, and I'm just like, I don't know. I've had, without getting into details, I've had my brushes with fame and elbow rubbing, and have partied in like Beverly Hills mansions. And, just all, I got guns pulled on me because I accidentally ended up in Britney Spears' driveway on accident. All that to say is I'm not really like a star fucker, as they call it. So he walks in, and I'm like this guy. That's all I said. I was like, this guy. He's like, what's up? I'm like, what's up, man? How are you? We started bullshitting about the pizza I ate that day. And I was like, oh, hold on, let me get my pizza. And so like his first pizza is the one I should have gave him because I ended up, I thought cooking it 30 seconds too long. In reality, that's what he likes. Like the more cooked, the better. Like to get a Portnoy 8, just have to basically like cook your pizza like super well done. Make it super crunchy. Don't make it like overly greasy and cheesy, and like you're gonna get a good score. But I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna juice my score and give him something that's not representative of what I crank out here on a day in day out basis. And I feel like that first one could have been like an 8.6 or an 8.8, like no joke. It was like a beautiful charred to hell pizza that I think he would have dug. But I was like, nah, I got to give him what I do. And but then, because I did it that way, he was cool. But then like I could feel them being like, all right, man, where's my pizza at? And so like I feel like I pulled his pizza like 30 to 40 seconds early.
Yeah.
And then I finish my pizza with the aged parm, and I finish it with some Sicilian oregano off the stem. And he's just like looking, and I'm just like, and so like I just feel like that, given a different, setup or a little more time.
Does he leave a tip?
I don't remember. Probably. I think so. I made him pay for it. A lot of people give it to him. He doesn't like that. He's fucking like ultra millionaire.
That's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. I can understand.
He probably
that.
did. I have no idea. He paid it with a credit card, so probably.
Now, I mean, you get that score, he eats it, and you put it online. What's the pop on that?
Well, dude, I didn't even put it on. I said nothing.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him putting it online.
Well, no, so that's what I'm saying, is that he posted a picture of the side of my building. My review didn't come out for 2 weeks after everyone knew he was there.
Yeah.
And my customers were there when he was here, and they're all like starstruck and shit. And so word spread really fast. By that night, I'm not joking, this is ridiculous. It harkened me back to like my band days, like 15 years ago. There was like college girls asking for my autograph. I was like, this is just pizza, man. It was so weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like super weird.
Yeah.
They're showing up. They're like, Dave Portnoy was here. I'm like, yeah, it was just
I'd be
here.
embarrassed about those girls.
I mean, they're like 19 years old.
Yeah.
It's just like,
That's crazy.
Let them, let them be 19.
Yeah, that's cool for you. I mean, like,
it was
it's cool.
fun.
You get some shine from that.
Yeah, it's like, please, man, I don't, that's not what I do this for, but it's fun.
It got to be fun. Yeah, you
so
get some
I'm generally
recognition.
someone who has basically told Pittsburgh press, like, leave me alone at this point, guys. Like, I got a small crew. Hiring a McKeesport and White Oak was hard as hell for reasons I don't really want to get into, but you grew up there, so it's more just like
reasons.
There's a drug problem out there, and a lot of people that come through restaurants. I had a person pass out head first into a garbage can with their legs in the air, and I had to pull their leg. So I was very selective, and I basically told my crew, like, it's just us guys. I'm going to give you guys a raise, and your tips are going to be crazy because it's just going to be a few of us splitting them, or not me. I don't take tips, but you guys are going to split your tips, and it's going to suck while we do it. But we're going to crank out amazing, consistent shit, and you guys are all going to make like $30+ an hour working at a fucking pizza shop in White Oak, and you're like, like 19 and 21 years old.
Can't ask for nothing more than that,
right?
Now, what's the status of the new John?
Let me finish the Portnoy thing. So basically, yeah. Already the phone started going nuts the second he posted on Twitter. The 2 weeks leading up to the Portnoy thing, it's basically from early September till I closed in early October. It was a 2 to 3 hour wait for pizza almost every day. A few days I got a little bit of a break where it was like 45 minutes wait for a pizza.
So the Portnoy effect is real.
It's very real, man. And I think that if I were, and Sean from Slice New York said it's just now has started to kind of get back to normal. And you see, from what I've heard from other pizza shop people, you see a permanent 20 to 30% increase, assuming, like people.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What are you guys on the app?
A little higher, like an 8.4 maybe, something like that. And that's another thing I talked to Portnoy about is that, like, so, and I can verify this because I did something similar. I don't know if you followed my Instagram, but I did like a pizza pilgrimage right after that, where I went to Philly, Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. I ate 23 pizza shops in 4 days right after the Portnoy thing, which is funny because people are like, why do you want to take this break? You're going to take a break now while you open your new place, and you're going to go eat more pizza. I'm like, oh, man, I wanted to be inspired. But anyways, what I'd realized is Portnoy was like, this is the 6th pizza shop of the day. He's like, I'm totally stuffed. I feel disgusting. I was like, does this affect your score? He's like, I'm not going to lie. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, man, if he stepped off the plane and he had mine first, what would it have been?
But what if he has anyone's first? They're going to get a little bit more of a score.
Well, there you go.
You know what I mean, though?
Right. But the other,
for you to get an 8.2 after 6 pizzas, I feel like that speaks a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so if I was first, would it have been 8.4? Would it have been 8.5? I don't know. Who gives a shit? But it's fun to speculate.
11 eights is good.
Dude, I think right now Rockaway's ranked in the top 85 pizzerias in the world.
I think it was whack that he gave you and Slice the same score just to try to keep you in like.
Yeah, I mean,
got to pick something.
Right, sure. Well, maybe not.
Never had
also give Lupo an 8.2.
Yeah,
and it's yeah. I mean, give someone one or I don't know. I mean, who gives a shit? The decimal point thing's weird anyway. It was like a music website, Pitchfork. They do reviews. And they did the decimal point.
It's so
thing.
weird that happens.
And I think Sean and I's pizza are both really good for different reasons. His is more like charred brick oven, like clean tomato flavor. Like he just puts salt in his sauce, and mine's a bit more robust with the aged funky parm and
you got a good slice. I mean, you got a good slice.
So what I'm saying is, I think I could see why he would like both of those slices for different reasons.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
you have that experience with him, then it shuts down, and then.
Thankfully, he mentions that in the review.
Yeah, he did say that. He said it's going to close in 2 weeks, so don't come here looking.
Right.
Now, I mean, we're 4 months later.
Yeah.
What's the deal with it?
So basically,
jumping through hoops.
Right. So basically, I took a couple weeks off in October, right? Because I had just like worked like a dog for quite a while, and the Rockaway has always been busy, but the Portnoy thing was put it into like. In outer space, basically, and and that was good because it helped set me up for what I'm about to do, which is get my ass handed to me when I open in a location. I mean, the neighborhood is just from being at Hemlock. They're like, people call Hemlock asking, like grilling them about when we're going to open and stuff.
I would definitely think that the new location is going to be more poppin' than, fucking.
Yeah,
Lincoln Way
and of
White
course,
Oak.
like the people in White Oak aren't going to come down all the time. There's a lot of people that are like, I'm not going to come, it's too far. I'm like, give it some time. The same people that said they wouldn't make it down that much are now asking me when I'm going to be open. And, that's why I always said, I was like, look, eat other pizza. If I was your favorite pizza for all this time, go eat other pizza.
Yeah.
And then, see what you like. See if you miss me. See if like you missed what I'm doing and the care I'm putting into it. And then see if you'll drive 20 minutes for something you love.
Yeah.
Because I've driven hours and hours to eat at places, man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
So like,
When are you projecting it to open?
So I take a little bit of time off in October.
Come on back on that mic.
I'm so bad talking to mics. I'm also finicky. My barber hates cutting my hair because I'm just like always moving around.
That's all right.
I have a inner ear disorder, like a motion sickness disorder, and I often feel like disequilibrium. And so sometimes like moving helps the sensation. It's hard for me to sit up in spots. People don't know that about me. But anyways, a little personal info. So took a little time off in October, then we started. And then it was just like November deadline passed, and then it was like, my band had a few shows in December, and I'm like, well, I'm not, and they were on Fridays, and I'm like, I'm not going to open and not be an opening month on a Friday night. So like, I'm already still waiting on some permits. So we're going to open in first week of January. Then that was like, first week of January was like the definitive goal. And then we find out that like the plumbing division in Allegheny County had changed a bunch of like, had changed some regulations. It used to be that like if you were going from a restaurant to a restaurant, you didn't need to have all these different plumbing things put into place. Like for example, I had to go out and find like an engineer to do like a stamped, approved like print of my like sinks and like plumbing in the wall. And it used to be if it was restaurant to restaurant, you're fine. But since it was a breakfast place to a pizza shop, even though pizza is actually easier on plumbing than it is like, making bacon and grease. I don't cook with grease.
Yeah.
Whatever grease goes in my sink is like washing the pepperoni grease off a pizza cutter. Like I use paper plates still. Like it's like there's cans of Coke and paper plates. Like I'm washing utensils basically. But I had to do that. But then the engineer that I found, I had a queue. I had to wait in it. The health department, like I said, we had some questions. It would take them like 2 to 3 weeks to answer a yes or no question. Then, now you're not, so you have to have what's called a grease trap in your kitchen, which basically separates the water from the grease, and one goes in one goes in the other, and the grease goes into this box, which now you're not allowed to have in your kitchen because studies show if your grease trap is in your kitchen, you'll actually clean it less. For some reason, if it's out of sight, you'll clean it more. I don't know why that makes sense, but this is what they say. So then there was this thing where it was like, I have to excavate my concrete out back to put a 2-foot long box in. It was going to cost like $25,000. And basically my plumber is like, look, can we have a little slop sink that has and we have a little like breaker box room. It's technically in the kitchen, but there's a divider wall. Can we run the pipes through the wall in this thing? And they eventually said yes. And so then we waited for the engineer to finish the things. It took him like another 6 weeks to finish this thing. And so now I just passed my plumbing inspection. They're coming back this week to just check on one other thing. And then once your plumbing inspection is done, you're pretty much, for a pizza shop, you're pretty much good to go. Because after that, your food inspection comes, and they're the ones that give you the green light, just open, period. But for pizza, it's like, I don't cook with raw meat. Like pepperoni and stuff that's cured meat lasts like 6 months in a refrigerator. Like there's no raw chicken. Basically, like is your food at temp? Are your refrigerators running at temp? Do you have any overhead gunk on your ceiling hanging it? Like basically like common sense stuff.
Yeah.
So, and this is for everyone that's been hitting me up for months, and I've been silent mostly because I'm not going to tell you something and then have that pass and have that deadline pass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pass. But people are getting mad. They're like, this place is never going to reopen. I'm like, yeah.
What's today? February 10th?
Yeah. I think there's absolutely a world where I'm open in March. I think that barring any sort of complete disaster, there's absolutely no reason I shouldn't be open by like April, like the beginning of April. Like,
Yeah.
But like there's nothing that I can see coming up that would do that. Now, that's the thing. It's like, so I get this plumbing inspection, and because they were doing all the plumbing in my kitchen, all of my equipment's like in my dining room area. Like it's like a showcase everyone can see from the street. It's like I'm in there making pizza because I've been making pizza for the last 2 months in there, just like R&D in there, messing with new, flour mix and tomatoes and whatnot. And like people were like waving, and I'm like, I wish I had blinds. I'm in there like doing this stuff and like carrying the pizza 60 feet like back like on the pizza peel to launch it because my shit's all out in the dining room. So now we can clean the whole plate, deep clean the dining room, set up the booths, see if there's any tables I got to order still left over because I have no idea like how to gauge that because all our stuff's been in a pile for months while they dug up the pull out the walls. And so I got to do all that, get everything in place, get the fridges on, get some food ordered, and then call them up like, look, we're ready to go. And then once they say, okay, you're good, then I have to aggressively hire. I have a couple people I'm bringing with me from the old squad. I have some people in the neighborhood that are interested in doing it. I got to get a crew together, just bang out pies for like a week or two, go over the protocol. I put a little pizza oven in the front for slice reheats, so we don't have to carry a slice all the way to the back where the big ovens are. So I have a 16 pie slice case now. White Oak had a 6 pie one.
Jesus.
So it's going to be legit. It's going to be like walking into a Manhattan pizzeria, dude. Like slices. And I'm going to do slices all day. I hope. I say that now, and that's the goal. But
if you get overran,
if I get too many takeout pies, the goal, I am on a search. I'm going to search for a second pizza maker. So it's me and my guy I've had for 4 years. It's the only people that have ever touched Rockaway since you've had it. In that building, only 2 guys ever. And I think that's part of what makes Rockaway good is the consistency. Again, going back to some of these other places, Luciano's, where these big operations where they got every other, 17-year-old like pothead kid making it. Like you never know, like all these people touching your stuff.
Yep.
And I'm so neurotic about it where like it was just me and one other dude all times.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. After talking to you, I could tell that you're you're passionate about what you do.
I'm wound up a little tight, which is funny because I'm super chill about like everything else except music and food. And that's like where I crack the whip hard on that stuff. I can get Gordon Ramsay-ish on Friday and Saturday night.
So what do you do? I mean, what do you do for fun besides music and food? Watch movies? Yeah.
I mean, I'm into film. I don't know. I don't have any like overly interesting,
Are you a foodie yourself?
Yeah.
Go around to different places in the city?
I eat different restaurants. I'm an extreme sushi lover. I have like 2 pair of shoes and like 3 pair of jeans to my name, but I spend an ungodly amount of money a month on sushi.
That's good.
Like, yeah, you don't want to know.
That's good.
And then I just got back into running, and my legs are beat up. Like, so I'm trying to do that. Like 6 weeks ago, I couldn't run a half mile. I just ran 4 miles the other day. So trying to get back in shape because I was actually doing well and Portnoy screwed me up. I'm a creature of like routine. And so like when I'm on my shit, I'm get really dedicated. But I lived off of like Mountain Dew and like fast food during the Portnoy days because I was working like non-stop. 70, 80 hours a week, like, crazy. Wasn't able to get my, 20,000 steps. I was like walking 10 miles a day. I'd lost like a bunch of weight and then I just gained it back. So I'm trying to like, exercise again. And I don't know, man. I mean, between the restaurant stuff. So, I'll announce it here. Even though I wasn't going to. I wanted to kind of see how things go. But I'll say that if it doesn't go well, it's not my fault. But I am, and this is partly for my customers and White Oak. I'm putting a pizzeria in the Rockaway in White Oak that is not going to be Rockaway. So we had a different pizza shop, but it's my pizza.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
And I'm training a guy right now to make it.
When's that happening?
Dude, it might like it concurrently with. That's why another reason I didn't want to say it. That's another reason shit's taking so long.
So you just got a bunch of plates up in the air spinning.
Yeah. So I'm doing like so it's a Sopranos nod. The name it's called Uncle June's.
Uncle June's. There you go.
So if you know Junior Soprano, I'm like Irish. I'm not even Italian. So
that's all right though. It fits.
Right. So I don't even like and I'm not. It's not going to be like
Same style pizza though.
No, totally different. So yeah, I didn't want to be like kitschy, like, you know, you walk into an Italian place, there's like Tony Soprano smoking a cigar. I wanted like a deep cut reference, you know, so it's like Uncle June's Pizza. I'm actually doing my version of like Minio's, Fiore's, Aiello's, like classic, like Pittsburgh style pizza. A little bit thicker, a lot cheesier, like robust in your face, like sweeter sauce. Kind of like an elevated, I'm using all provolone, not even any mozzarella at all, which is pretty crazy because like Minio's and Aiello's, and I think Fiore's don't do, I know Minio's and Aiello's for a fact don't use any mozzarella in their pizza. I think Fiore's might be that same way too. So, and I'm absolutely against provolone on my pizza, like the Rockaway Pizza, which is like my baby, but like I like pizza and I like all types of pizza. So I want to like just make something else. And like I grew up eating this stuff, you know, it's the Squirrel Hill pizza. And so this is like my nod to Pittsburgh pizza or my ode to it. So Uncle June's is going to be opening in that spot. Small menu, like 5 specialty pies, one size pizza, same as Rockaway. It's going to be a 16-inch pizza. I'm doing like a cup, like 3 sandwiches. I'm going to do a ribeye cheesesteak sandwich.
Fuck yeah.
And then I'm doing one pasta, baked ziti. Just like cheesy as hell, like ricotta in it, like super saucy, like just cooked in a brick oven so the top gets all crusty. That's it.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's exciting.
Right. So fuck, man. That's, you know, it's hard getting in shape when you eat pizza, worse acid reflux, like all the time now. I'm just consuming like so much tomato sauce and cheese and.
You're just busy all the time now.
It's stupid.
I mean, you got 3 spots you're working on.
Yeah, 3 spots, and I'm kicking around an idea for something else too. So.
Well, I'm glad that you cut some time out to come and talk to me about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know. I like I said, I've been to the spot quite a few times, but I knew nothing about you. And you know, it's where this podcast comes from. I'm interested about people that I enjoy. So it's interesting to hear, you know, the origin of all this stuff and kind of how it unfolded. You think that there's anything that I missed talking about as far as, you know, Hemlock, Rockaway, and Uncle June's?
No, I don't think so, man. I mean, you know, you're not a pizza guy, so like I've done, you know, as far as like, you know, when I say pizza guy, I mean, like I've done interviews with like PMQ magazine, like different, where we get into like, you know, fermentation schedules of dough and like pH of tomato. Like, you know, I don't think this isn't necessarily the place for that, you know.
Yeah.
So like deep dives into the science of pizza. You know?
I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy it, but I feel like that it could go down a whole different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole nother conversation.
Let's keep an overarching, entertaining, you know, thing as opposed to like a super nerdy session, which that's fine too. But
all right, that's good. Now, okay, so ending segment that I do with everyone on a podcast is called Desert Island Questions.
Sure.
So, Desert Island Questions, whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island and use until they starve to death and die. First category is 3 movies.
Oh, God.
I know these are all just quick, you know, whatever comes to your mind. 3 movies to take with you to watch over and over and over again until you die.
Pulp Fiction. Good God, dude. This is so hard for me to do.
I mean, everyone says it's hard.
I know, and it's I'm not special compared to anybody else, but it's it'd be easy for TV shows. But
you could pick a TV show, whole series if you want.
I mean, Breaking Bad.
It's a great one.
True Detective season 1.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Those are all good choices.
Yeah.
I feel like I like Breaking Bad so much, and then I watch Better Call Saul, and I feel like I would put that above it just a little bit.
I actively fight people, not physically, but verbal fisticuffs, and I'll tell you why. There's one, Better Call Saul can't exist without Breaking Bad, so it's part of me. So, and I get that doesn't necessarily mean that Breaking Bad's gonna be a better show, you know, but I also believe the best parts of Better Call Saul or when the show becomes the prequel of Breaking Bad. I also think that the best characters, minus Lalo Salamanca, who's awesome as hell, are all Breaking Bad characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think when you're talking about missing Walter White and Gus Fring and his empire, Gus Fring and Pinkman,
Yeah, it's just too much. It was too much anxiety for me for Breaking Bad.
That's part of what makes it great. I actually rewatched it recently. It's just you're like clawing your face off.
It's a fantastic show, and I just finished Better Call Saul.
I think that Better Call Saul's pacing is off in the first 3 seasons. I feel like if you condense the first 3 seasons into like one season, it'd have been killer.
Yeah,
like it's like the first season, like I thought the show's not as funny as I thought it would be.
Let me rephrase it. Okay, I don't think it's better. I think I enjoy the experience of watching it a little bit more because of how crazy.
That's fair.
Breaking Bad fucked me up for a while just because of how intense it was.
Right. That's totally fair.
That's fair.
That's like almost like say it's like
Lalo Salamanca and that whole arc in the end was
he's amazing. He's one of my favorite type of bad guys. I love bad guys where you can't tell if they're like taking the piss or they're about to kill you. Right? He has this shit-eating grin on his face.
Mike Ehrmantraut. I liked him.
Mike's amazing.
I liked him. I feel like a little bit more in Better Call Saul as well.
I'll give you that because I think you get more of him.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
He's a great character, and you get more of his backstory.
I'm a backstory guy. You know, that's why I like the origin story of Jimmy. Slippin' Jimmy.
Here's what I'll say. I much prefer Saul Goodman to Jimmy, and I think that he's way funnier. So my biggest disappointment about Better Call Saul, other than the pacing, is that it's not that funny. Like I thought that it was going to be. For me, I thought it was going to be something that was injected with a bit more humor. Ends up being this like lawyer story for the first half of it, and then like a familial story with his brother who doesn't, it's disrespecting him his whole life. His brother ends up being some like wildly anxious dude who wraps himself into,
agoraphobic.
Yeah. And I thought the show starts to get good at like that whole second season, like the elder care bullshit, dude. Like that was like watching paint dry. And I like slow stuff, dude. Why don't you talk about? I don't know if I would take on a desert island because it's so gruesomely painful to watch, but There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite movies.
It's a great movie. That's why.
It's brutal to watch.
Yeah,
it's slow as shit. The first 20 minutes, there's no talking at all. And like I'm a huge David Lynch fan, and his movies are weird as hell. And like
all right.
But yeah,
those are good answers.
Cool.
Do you read? What about you have one book?
This is one of my favorite books of all time, though.
Okay. What if you had one book to bring on a desert island? Would it be Dracula?
I don't think so. I think a lot of stuff that I like is stuff that's already been adapted. But like one of the last books I read was actually by the guy who made the first True Detective. He wrote a book called Galveston. Yeah. And that book is really good. I would read a lot of like nonfiction political stuff, which I'm not, I have a no politics, no religion talk in my restaurants. And that's only because, and it's not like I'm afraid to alienate people per se, because you do alienate half, even though I'll say this.
I feel like you don't want to get that ball rolling and have it.
Well, not only that. So I'll say this just so I don't, and so Democrats and Republicans can get fucked. I'm an independent voter, and I vote based on the actual, and I don't vote much anymore because I actually don't find a lot of people worth voting for. But when I do vote, it's based on policy and the person. It's not based on this like distorted, two-party system of team sports, team blue versus team red. This country is like disgusting to me as far as like how we interact with each other and treat each other. Like the way that people talk to each other on Facebook and on Instagram, you would never say that shit in real life to somebody. That's part of what makes the internet fun. It's the same reason that Louis C.K. had a skit about how if someone cuts you off in traffic, you're like, fuck you. Like you would never do that to a dude to his face, but you're in a car and you can do it. Yeah. So you can speed away 80 miles an hour. So the reason I'm not into like politics and religion and pizza shop, because like the whole world right now is so divisive in the sense where like we're separated along like belief lines. So like why not for a minute like link up with humankind like over a slice of pizza? You know what I mean? Like because there are some things that all of us enjoy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and like at the end of the day, like a doctor, if you get in a car wreck and your head's smashed apart, your doctor's a liberal and you're a conservative, they're gonna save your life. Yeah. Still, they don't fucking know what you believe in, man. And I don't want to know what you believe in when you're eating my pizza. I couldn't give two shits. I don't want to know what you believe in.
That's a good way to look at it.
And it's not that like it's not that I'm too scared to do this or stand up for things, because I have I have my own personal life where I have and have been politically active. I've worked for campaigns. You're not going to know who they were for, but I keep that shit separate. And that's just a choice of mine because I want to cultivate a little more humanity in this world where you can enjoy a burger at Hemlock, you can enjoy pizza at Rockaway, and just shut the fuck up about Trump and Biden and everyone else. You know what I mean?
I like that way. Yeah, that's good. That's a good answer. Okay, this is going to be difficult for you, so don't put too much thought into it. 3 CDs.
This is probably actually less difficult.
Okay.
36 Chambers by Wu-Tang, the White Album by the Beatles, and
Blood Incantation.
no, I wouldn't go that far. Although if you have a hip hop one, you have like a rock one, maybe you need something heavy. If I was doing something heavy, maybe. But it's I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can. The third one. I thought it would be easier than the movies, and all of a sudden I'm clamming up. I mean, it could be Zeppelin 3. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure.
All right. Don't put too much thought into it.
Master of Puppets.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I mean, those are all good answers.
That's what I'll say. Boom. First Wu-Tang album, The White Album by the Beatles, and Master of Puppets.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be a difficult question. If you were to not have your pizza and you were going to pick a pizza place to go to in the city, what is it?
In the city or Western PA?
Whatever. Around here. What's your favorite?
Okay, so I'm going to, because I have too many friends, and I literally can't answer this because you're going to fuck up my personal life. And this is but my answer is also not disingenuous. I have I have 2 lanes of pizza. I have like craft pizza that I enjoy eating scientifically, and that interests me, and that I'm curious and I'm impressed by, and that I want to know more about and I have respect for.
Okay, what's
and
that?
And then
answer?
I have, so I mean, that's the lane I'm in. That's the lane I can't answer. It's the driftwood ovens and Gus Francos and slice of New Yorks and Bedamos and things like that. And then there's like the guilty pleasure pizza, and dude, DeSala's and Homestead.
Oh, it's great.
It's just like
People don't really talk about it that much.
Dude, they don't. And everyone talks about Betos and DeCarlos, and they talk about Police Station Pizza and Ambridge for like what's essentially like Ohio Valley style adjacent. Some of them do cold cheese on it. Essentially what this pizza is like just some old ass grandma pizza. They all are using these like pans that look they're
It's like some Stouffer's French bread elevated.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's like gourmet bowling alley pizza.
Yeah, that's why it's a good answer.
And like,
I feel like 99% of the people listening to this don't even eat that.
Right. It's funny to me. It's more popular, but I don't think it's as good as Della Sala's in Verona.
Yeah.
That's their cousins. And to me, it's a not as good version. And maybe people like it because it's in a literal garage.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. You go to Della Sala's, it's like it looks gross in there. And no offense to these guys, like they're an institution.
Yeah,
it's a garage. There's like junk everywhere. And their oven looks like something out of like you would heat your home with in the Great Depression.
Those are good answers.
And so I'm gonna say, and I haven't had it in like 2 or 3 years, but DeSala's and Homestead. I guess maybe some people will call it Munhall. It's the same shit. It's over by the waterfront. It's been open since like the 50s or something.
I know. It's great. My buddy who, the Pittsburgh Scanner, you ever hear of that account?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, their big Twitter account, big Instagram account. They just post all the shit that's happening in Pittsburgh. He just posted the other day that he was there, and I was like, damn, like, been a minute for me.
The trick with DeSala's is that you have to eat it within like 5 to 10 minutes of it come out of the oven.
That's fair.
It immediately drops in quality after that because it's like,
the vibes are in there. The vibes in there are cool too.
The old lady with the hairnet who just looks like she's gonna like punch you in the face. Like it's great. Dude. It doesn't talk to anyone. She's actually kind of nice when you do talk to her, but she just shuts up and makes pizza.
That's a good answer. I'm surprised, but that's a good answer. It makes me want to go get it this weekend.
There's so, like it's just like it's the Pittsburgh in me because like Sean from Slice who grew up in like the Bronx would never agree with me, but there's like and I have over the years obviously now Rockaway is almost. It's devoid of any Pittsburgh influence at this point. My pizza is straight up like Brooklyn, Jersey, and even New Haven, Connecticut influence. But like the Yinzer in me because I still, I watch the Steelers and I'm still proud, Pittsburgh, like loves that almost like pasta sauce on pizza, like like the Minios and dude, the garlic and the salad sauce is just like outrageous, and that pizza also, like I also really dig pizza that like I can't really figure out how to make it myself.
Yeah,
their crust is as white as this can, and it's so damn crispy. And it's like, what are you doing? And they bring out these like par baked shells, and she gets like it looks like the thing you like. This is embarrassing because I'm in restaurants. So, the hot dog stabber,
the forks.
Yeah, she's like cutting it with a knife on these pans, which you shouldn't do. And she's just like cutting these things.
You ever have Oso's Pizza in Washington?
No, I make it a point to not go really many other places outside of the rivers of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's kind of how they do that too. They use a hot dog fork. They cut it on a pan, small square slices. Been there forever. It's like $1.15 a slice.
Yeah,
it's good. It's like not it's not like a craft pizza by any means. But
right.
I fuck with it.
It's great because you can just not think about it.
Yeah, you know what you're getting. It's consistent every time.
Yeah, I do. I still love a Five Guys burger.
Yeah, it's
good.
What
I mean, you just don't think, and you just eat this delicious, salty, bad for you thing.
Absolutely.
And so, like with like that's a lane that for me, I can shut my brain off and just eat it. So yeah, the answer I think is going to be DeSalas. And Minio's is too inconsistent for me these days, man. We still get it.
Yeah,
I have friend group hangs out on Sundays and
I'm not a Minio's, Fiore's, or Friore's. If I have to pick any of them three, I would eat an Aiello's, but there's other places
I've still never been. It's closer down here, right? I've never been to Harry's. People talk about Harry's and
never been there either.
Really?
Don't know what that is.
I think it's Harry's, and they're like south of the city, and it's like they do a clam pizza, which is indigenous to the Northeast. I do one. I thought it was the only one in Pittsburgh that was doing it, but apparently they have one too.
Old Harry's. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
And
there's some good spots around here.
They do a thin crust pizza, and it's like supposed to be crispy. I don't know. I was a judge on the Star 100.7 pizza contest, the Bubba show or whatever that is, and I judged it this past Friday.
Who won?
Some like brewery that did a Detroit style pizza, Bloom something. Dude, I ate so much bad pizza. Like I tried 40 pizzas, and I thought 4 of them were edible. Like, and I maybe I shouldn't be cutting up on people, and this is really not, and I'm not going to name any names, but it's just like, for me, it's like a call to arms for people in Pittsburgh to fucking step their game up, dude, because I tried a lot of really shitty pizza, cheap cheese, cheap, like generic, just because it cups, they think the pepperoni is good, like a cheap cup. It smells like
I mean, you have a bougie taste though, you have to call it that.
Right, but I'm sitting here waxing poetic about DeSalas.
Yeah, that's all right, but
so that's what I'm saying. That's not bougie, but they execute what they do well. But these places, like, they're just like, there's like no knowledge, there's no craft put into it.
That's fair.
And it's just it was awful.
That's fair. Okay, that's good.
It was a fun experience because of everyone that was there and hanging out and having a good time, and like 6:30 in the morning housing pizza. But
sounds like a good time.
I want Pittsburgh pizza shops to kind of don't settle for what your distributors push on you as, oh, you want to save $1? Try this cheese instead. Oh, we have a private label. We know that you like your San Marzano tomatoes or your California tomatoes, but we have our private label tomatoes and they're $20 a case cheaper. Try them. Stop falling into that shit, because you're just dumbing down the pizza palates of this region, and you're holding the rest of us back who are trying to move forward.
Well, that's a fair point. That's fair. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, third to last question is the death row meal. Death row meal, you get an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert.
I don't know that I have like an appetizer that I am like, I think that, so it's going to be, I can just say this. It's going to be a whole bunch of really good bluefin tuna and bluefin toro, Scottish salmon, all nigiri here. Hokkaido Japanese uni. This is all sushi. I'm just rattling all this off.
That's fine.
Japanese A5 Wagyu on rice. And then I would somehow get in a time machine back to 2010. And so Dominic DeMarco of DeFara is still alive. He just died 2 years ago. Rest in peace to the GOAT, Dom. And he would make me a cheese pizza.
Okay. What about the dessert?
Man. So I love tiramisu, and we're going to go back to Minio's. And I don't know if someone knows about it, but what we know is that Minio's gets tiramisu brought in from New York City from a bakery, is what I've been told by many, many people. They don't know which bakery.
You're telling me Minio's got a good tiramisu?
Dude, Minio's tiramisu is off the fucking hook good, dude. Like, legit.
Never heard of that, but I'm going to probably have to go try it now. I'm a tiramisu guy.
So, like,
Had a banging one in Columbus.
I'm like I can't do like birthday cake. I'm into like creamy sweet stuff, like where like the cream provides the sweet. A little
Have you been
sugar.
to Guy Gin?
Yeah, I know Michael Taylor. He also is the chef at Golden Guy now. He's a kind of like a buddy of mine.
Their tiramisu is probably the best I've had in the city. The matcha tiramisu.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's really good. I would consider that almost like it's a different category.
Yeah, it's a different category, but
it's a little,
sticks out in my mind.
I need the classic, just layered coffee lady thing. Like theirs is real good. My mom makes strawberry pretzel salad.
Fuck yeah.
And that, to me, also, it's harder to find because it takes a long ass time. You got to like caramelize and like cook down the pretzels, like, and then it's like the layers of like cream, and then
yeah, that's a good answer too. I'll give you some of both.
I don't know.
That's a good answer. You're putting too much thought into it.
I feel a little more basic because I won't sit here and pretend that dude, Hemlock House is an insane gingerbread cake. And I'm not even that into gingerbread, but dude, we have like a really baller gingerbread cake that's like, we've had like chefs come in and like they'll eat and I'm like, dude, this is great.
I mean, I'm gonna come and eat and see what it's all about down there.
Yeah. So you have people that be like, dude, this is good. This burger is amazing. This is amazing. And then they'll get the gingerbread cake, and I'm not joking. This guy's a chef in like West Virginia, he owns a restaurant. He's like, dude, will you marry me? Like after, I'm like, well, no, I won't. But
the gingerbread cake, I'll try that too.
It's really dope as far as.
You need reservations down there?
I would make a reservation if you're coming on Friday and Saturday for sure. We're open 7 days a week. And then also Mondays. So tonight I'm actually gonna go there on the way home and eat. We have a different menu on Mondays. We have an industry night menu. If you work in a restaurant, you get 20% off on Mondays. And we have like chorizo tacos and like different like
I like that
cool stuff. And we might switch to a legitimate taco night on Mondays, but not like stupid bar tacos, like legitimate, like, carne asada, like California Mexican style taco, like double wrapped corn tortilla.
All right.
So
those are good answers. You ready for the next question?
I still fuck with Ben and Jerry's too, dude. I don't care what anyone says. Like
fish food all day.
Like it's so you get like all these like homemade this, dude.
Ben and Jerry's is insane.
Okay, my favorite dessert in Pittsburgh, other than the tiramisu, is have you been to Poussey's Garden in Lawrenceville?
It's unreal.
Their coconut ice cream is fucking stupid, dude. And there's no dairy in it, apparently.
It's ridiculous. It's probably my favorite restaurant in the city. As far as like where I could go, and I could literally just live off of the tom yum soup.
Dude, I'll say this. I believe that when you take everything into account, Poussey's Garden is the best restaurant in Pittsburgh.
It's phenomenal.
Because when you're talking about the decor, it's gorgeous.
The vibe is insane.
And it's not gorgeous in this way where it feels like stuffy or unapproachable.
No, the vibe is insane.
It's not like, dude, like you can tell that like the leather wrapper on Boost they probably spent like 20 grand. Like it looks like they spent millions of dollars.
The only thing I hate about Poussey's is the little 2-seated tables where you're both sitting on one side looking out. That's the only thing I dislike about it.
The two top tables can be a little tiny.
It's the only thing I dislike.
Dude, I'm a cocktail guy. Their cocktails are great.
I don't drink, but even their mocktails are incredible.
The worst part of Poussey's to me, I think the service is they're slow. Like for whatever reason, if it's because they're busy or they have too many people.
I've never had bad service, but like the and it's warranted. The reservations are insane. You got to book it out insane.
Yeah, well, it's just like every time I've been there, it's like an extremely long wait, even between like someone asking if you want another drink. Like your drink will be empty for like 10 or 15 minutes.
I've never had that experience there.
It's good. Yeah, and this is not me like trying to shit on them or dunk on them. It's just I just off the cuff here, honest.
No, that's
but
all right.
I think it's between the food, the drinks, the decor. I think Pussy's has earned. I think to me they're the best restaurant in Pittsburgh.
It's incredible.
But yeah, their coconut ice cream with the sticky rice at the bottom with the peanuts. And I don't know where they get. Well, actually, I do know. Their mint that they have is the crate.
It's insane.
It's not like Restaurant Depot or even like some,
It's probably grown out in the fucking garden.
He grows it.
Yeah, come on now.
He grows his mint there.
You ever have their soup, the tom yum soup?
I have not had the tom yum soup there.
It is ridiculous.
I can't get off that lamb shank and massaman curry.
It's great, but I mean, like, just get the soup just as a starter,
Yeah.
And if you're going with someone, me and my wife will just split it. It's absolutely breathtaking.
Let's get the crazy with a 17 ingredient salad.
I get that all the time.
Also,
we go buck wild and we'll just get a bunch of different shit.
Yeah, when you go to Pussy's, you got to drop like $200.
Yeah.
Like, just go for it.
And it's not even outrageously priced
no, it's
for
not,
what you
dude.
get.
It is not at all, dude.
Yeah.
That lamb shank dish is like $38. It's like
There's other places that are way more expensive that
way
are not
more.
as
I mean,
good.
I love Morcia, but you can go to Morcia and get like a $14 small plate that's this much
Yeah.
food for and then like
Yeah.
But also they got rid of it, and I've been begging them every time there. I'm like, they used to have something called Northern style Thai sausage, and it was just these like slivers of like, well, it almost essentially looks like Italian salamis or sopressata, but their version. And it's like when you have sausage with lemongrass in it. It's just like a whole other level of deliciousness and like odd flavors, right? You're introducing a flavor into a sausage, lemongrass.
I got my mouth
go there.
watering.
Dude, they need to bring it back. If they see this, please bring that back.
I know. I'm working on it. I need to get her on here. It would be difficult, but I need to get
I don't know
her on.
anything about them.
Well, I'm working on it.
Cool.
We're
Good.
working on it behind the scenes.
Good.
Okay, second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip. You're going to a gas station. What's your snack of choice?
It changes. I'm a sour candy guy. So, but I have to watch because I don't stop, and I'll go till my tongue gets like burnt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You read a lot of sour candy, and like
What's your pick?
Bro, I go all over the place. I swear, like that's weird. Like so I'm like very loyal to certain things. I'll go the green pack of sour Skittles. I'll go old school Sour Patch Kids. If I want to go real crazy, I'll do like the Warheads. I'll do
Jesus.
I'll do the rolls, the sweet tarts, the big roll. I love Smarties, but that sometimes Smarties are like not.
What do you like, Necco wafers too?
No, I don't.
That's because they're not sour.
Right, they're not sour. But these days I gravitate more towards things that are a little bit sour, and then I can eat more of them.
Yeah.
Without burning my face off.
That's good.
All that citric acid will just melt a hole in your tongue.
Yeah, I know.
Nerds recently came out with these like gummy, they're like
Gummy
these
clusters.
Those are great.
Yeah, I mean, they're picked on here a good bit now.
If I like Reese the sticks. It's like they're like these like slender,
Yeah.
like like
the gummy clusters are fucked up though because 7 of them is like 40 grams of sugar.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's
I mean,
terrible.
I've had a really bad diet ever since Portnoy showed up, like really bad.
That's all right. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Like, dude, I'll go like months on like a chicken and rice thing, and I'm like grinding 5 days a week in the gym, and like the only Sundays I give myself Sunday to just eat whatever I want, but I'm doing well. I'm getting in shape, and then when I break it, it's like it's sheets at 1 a.m. Nutrageous.
Love some chicken strips and fries.
Yeah, nutrageous and like a MTO and.
All right, last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why? And do not pick a loved one.
Cliche, but John Lennon.
Okay. Funny enough, I don't think he's ever been picked on here. Big Beatles guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most serious. I don't want to say that. A lot of serious musicians know that the Beatles are like still the standard. They don't have to be your favorite band for you to know they're the best. You know what I mean? And it kind of goes like the pizza thing goes, like where it's like, I can.
Everyone gets respect for them because they deserve the respect for sure.
Well, it goes beyond that. It's not just respect. It's like you're not doing what you're like. Ozzy worshipped the Beatles, and he's basically the godfather of metal and so many different walks of life. It's like the idea that they were a band for 7 years only. I was in the Takeover UK for almost as long.
You ever been in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Super sick. We just went there this weekend. They have a lot of cool shit from them in there.
Yeah, they do. They have like, I think like In My Life, they have like the original lyric things that he wrote the lyrics on. They have like I'm big into old blues. They have they have something. The funniest thing I saw there was Howlin' Wolf's money case.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
It was just
so
a leather
sick.
case where he just carried cash. In it. I love fucking Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah,
dude.
that's badass. They got so much shit there.
But as far as like Lennon goes, I mean, he from everything that I can tell, like he was a very problematic person, in a lot of ways, not a good person at all.
Yeah.
But he, to me, is the greatest songwriter of all time.
It'd be interesting to talk to, though. That's for sure.
For sure. I mean, you know, and he died at age 40. And it's like, you know, I'd have to decide what era I'd want to talk to him. And I don't think I'd want to talk to the young era. You know, that's the funny thing about the Beatles is that it's like the Rolling Stones got this, they got this notoriety of being like the Beatles were actually the ones that were like, the Stones were like the London, like rich art school kids, and the Beatles were like the Northern England, like smashing up pubs. Like their original drummer, or their bassist Stu, got into a bar fight and died. Like got hit in the head with a bottle. And
it's pretty insane.
So after the Beatles broke up, Lennon like left Yoko Ono for a little while and moved to Los Angeles, and he had what was called the Lost Weekend, and it was him, Ringo, Elton John, and Harry Nilsson, a songwriter from the 60s and 70s, and they just got fucking wrecked, thrown out of bars, got in like fights, got arrested, like all over LA for like months, and then like Lennon came like crawling back to Yoko, like please forgive me.
That's a good answer,
right? So yeah, that's. As a music, that's what people like. Don't people associate me now with pizza? But I consider myself still a musician first and a pizza guy second. So it's much like Daniel Day-Lewis considers himself a shoemaker first and an actor second. I don't know if you know he makes shoes.
Yeah, I know.
So like he's more into like his shoe shop, and Bradley Cooper now owns a cheesesteak joint in New York City.
Yeah, it looks pretty good too,
dude. It's Danny from Angelo's in Philly. It's his recipe. But apparently Bradley Cooper's like they're working the line. He took a break from acting to open the store. He's like they're chopping up the onions and shit. So I got respect for that.
See it all on TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take a second, promote all your shit, tell where everyone could see your stuff and where they could find you.
Rockaway Pizza will be at 1137 South Braddock Avenue in Regent Square. This is for all the people that have been asking me, saying I won't open, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. Like it's going to happen this spring. I have not been dragging my feet. There's just a lot of like local red tape. I am going to be involved in the opening of Uncle June's Pizzeria, which is my nod to like what the pizza I grew up with in Pittsburgh at the old Rockaway 1949 Lincoln Way. I will not be working there. You might see me working there sometimes. I'll make a little guest DJ spot making pie there. If it sucks, it's not my fault. I've done everything I can to make it successful. We'll see what happens. You know, it's when the owner's not there, it's, you know, but I've dummy proofed as much as I possibly could. Hemlock House is right across the street on South Braddock. Really cool food and cocktails, music, good vibes, and you know that's really it.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking some time to talk to me about what you do.
Yeah, man.
An interesting guy.
Cool. I hope so.
Everyone else that's listening, appreciate you as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things for the city. Thank you for listening. Call you right back.